21 people into the chat. And I think that's a cool thing. I think I may keep the camera on and off. I might flick between this on and off, but in the meantime, I'm going to just sit here. But yeah, there's so many cool things that we can do. And I don't know if VVS is in the chat. He could get in here too. If not, that's okay. We'll keep moving here. Yeah, this has got to come to an end. This anonymity in the manosphere has got to come to an end. I'm not saying it's possible for everybody to look to be. Thanks a lot, vegan muscles. That look great. Actually, I do look great. I've been working out with I've been working out quite heavily, and things are going good. Okay, I guess Dusty is in here. Hey, what's up, Dusty?
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Oh, crystal clear. You're coming in good. I'll sound as clear as you as soon as I get that blue snowflake. It's a brand new mic coming in, and things are
Can you
going good.
can you see me on camera, or can you just hear me?
I just see the dog. I just see that little cute little dog in the background, big Rusky.
Oh yeah, that was my chiropractor's dog. I I always like to go and see him. So, Steve, what's new in the world of TFL?
Nothing's new. I mean, other than what you've been hearing me. I do have your interview. I'm going to just post it up shortly. I do have it, and it was not deleted. I didn't plan. See, what happened was the reason I didn't upload your video was because the day after I had recorded that, I had made a promise. I had run into Kelb at the dashboard light, and I didn't want to have a negative video because I was pissed at him as he deleted his entire everything. I mean, everything is gone, and other than a few videos he left up that had me in them. And since I did him the next day, I said I was pissed off, but I'll just upload it anyways.
Yeah, so I had something kind of funny happen recently, and this
Yeah,
shows you just how picky women are today.
go ahead.
Um, I was talking to a woman from Tinder, and she was all ready to come over to my place. We were going to hook up, and she asked me if I had roommates, and I said yes, I've got two roommates, but they're never here. And she told me, well, I'm not interested in a guy with roommates. And then she just nexted me like that.
Right, right. And what happened?
That was that. I mean, she literally nexted me because I
Oh,
have
she
roommates.
nexted you because you had roommates. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and you want to know the funniest part? I lived with my parents until I was 27, and I moved out on my own. And I always thought that things would be better, in terms of dating, maybe once I got out on
Right,
my own. But apparently, that's not enough anymore.
right. Do you see me on the screen?
um,
You do see me on your camera, right? My picture coming in?
yeah, I see you.
Okay, I got a microphone in my hand. Cool. Okay, I'm glad you can see me.
Yeah, nice look. You look kind of like Indiana Jones, the
Yeah,
TFL
well, I
Indiana
bought this.
Jones.
This is a oh my god, this is my cam. Oh my, hold on one second. Okay, I hope I am still in my same chat. 28 in the watch. And am I still in? I'm sorry, I ran out of battery here. I just had to plug the sucker in. And I don't know if Dusty got kicked out of here. Dusty, if you did get kicked out, if you guys can see me in the chat, that's great. If not, I hope this is continuation of the same chat. Oh, you guys can hear me. Okay, good. I will re-invite him back in here. Okay, he's been re-invited back in. So, Dusty, if you are listening, Dusty, what happened was I unplugged my. I was running off the battery here, and I had to plug the battery. So I don't think I interrupted the chat really that much. Okay, so you guys can all hear me. Say yes if you can. Okay, good. You can hear me. Good. So,
Hey,
okay, good. How are you?
I'm good. I figured something just went wrong, and I figured
Oh
it
no, it's
was
not the New World Order kicking me out of my own chat. What had happened was I just everything's fine.
it was electronic harassment, probably.
No, I didn't get that. I know the difference between electronic harassment. I don't think there's electronic harassment in the background here, but I got 28 in the watch. So, anyways,
The
continue. You said
Rockefellers and Rothschilds.
the Rockefeller. No, I'm not making fun of Bill. He's right. The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds are hugely involved, but I think that there's a combination of things going on today. It's not just the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. You've got multiple things going on today, and it's hard to put a finger on everything. You know.
You know, Steve, I've been thinking a lot about this whole TFL problem, and
Yeah, it's mainstream. If you listen to me in the beginning of my chat, I'm telling you,
yeah,
it's going mainstream.
the more I think about it, I look back at my past, and I'm 28 now, and
Yeah.
I was in high school right before all this social media and smartphones really blew up. And I was thinking women were so much nicer back whenever I was in school. Like, I had like half a dozen girls ask me out on dates and stuff. And nowadays, that just doesn't happen. I really do think that social media and smartphones have had a big effect on the dating scene. And I kind of wonder if maybe now that awareness is coming to this, I wonder if they'll kind of be a distancing from the social media and smartphones.
I would say don't count on it. It seems that the human ego is so huge, like Bill said, and I've said this too. The human ego is so big that it's probably unlikely it'll happen.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, I had like looking back, I had tons of girls interested in me in high school,
Yeah, I
and
don't like to talk about that because then it'll piss a few people off. I had, you know,
yeah,
you're right. I don't, but you're a lot. You got to understand one thing too, Dusty. I know you're what 28 years old.
yeah,
Okay, you're still in kind of a time frame where this stuff was already getting worse. So I wouldn't.
yeah.
You don't want to mistake the mystique of being in high school because you got to understand something. High school is a very rare environment where you're never going to have a proportion of men to women in such close proximity that in high school. So I don't think high school is a good comparison of what's going on. I think after high school is what is ultimately what you have to base things on. You know.
Oh, no doubt. And I just think social media and smartphones have been a really big factor. But there's other things too.
Right.
Like the high school I went to, there was like 100 girls to every 90 boys.
Right.
But I looked at a report from the state that had the enrollments of all the high schools in the state, and consistently boys are significantly outnumbering girls
Oh
now.
yeah, they are. Yeah, there's more boys, there's more men being born, and then you have to look into the dating limbo thing. And I've talked about this. I know it sounds like a broken record, but dating limbo is huge. Women are also having less romance and sex today. And you can't the Chad theory might have worked 20 years ago. I just don't think that it's the same. I don't think we can blame it on Chad and Tyrone.
Yeah, and like you said, dating limbo. I think I mentioned it in one of the comments to one of your videos, but I know a girl who's like 25 years old, very pretty, nice girl, but she never dates. She just likes her dog.
That's yeah.
And you can't and you can't tell me that a pretty girl like her doesn't have plenty of options.
Yeah, of course they do. They have plenty of options, no doubt.
So why do you think women aren't interested in guys anymore, like some women?
I don't know. I think that Bill Greathouse likes to talk about the social engineering, but I think that might account for about 50% of it. But you have to look at the other 50%. You have zeitgeists. You have periods of time where people behave differently. And I like the way Alex Ansary said it best when 3 years ago he said that people use that female nature as a cop out. I don't think things have always been that way. And I think that, and Mark Passio was touched on this thing too. The only problem I have with Mark Passio, and maybe it's a good thing, he's not trying to delve into the TFL thing like me and Bill have. And I think me and Bill kind of have a monopoly on it at this point because we know that it is at the crux of what is affecting people. It's not about sex. It's not about getting laid. It's about feeling like you have somebody that loves you and wants to be with you, and you can always like resume your regular life and do what you have to do.
Yeah, like whenever you don't have like people, whenever people just don't want to have shit to do with you, it really messes with your self-esteem.
Absolutely, it does. It doesn't mess with mine personally because I'm in a different place in my life. I'm 48 years old, and I'm actually doing very well right now. I'm paying my bills. I've got money I've been saving. My health is pretty relatively good. Although I was having problems with I was eating the wrong foods, okay, and it affects your gallbladder. And so I had some health issues, but they were minor ones, and it was just mostly my diet. But now that I'm going back to the gym and I'm in shape, I'm in really, really good position now to keep myself, get back into marathon running, maybe possibly cut it back to, I won't be a sub-3 runner unless I try to. That's like a full-time, it's like a really heavy part-time job. But I'll probably be able to run a 3:30 marathon and do pretty well, and I'll be very happy.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I'm trying to get into shape myself. Being out of shape just isn't good.
No,
It,
well, if you're older, especially because some guys are 350 pounds and they're 60 years old, and I'll ask them, "Hey, do you have gallbladder problems? Do you have like a stomach digest?" No, I'm fine. And there are some people that can pull it off. I just can't. I have to be. I found out a long time ago that I have to be physically fit in order to be happy and healthy. I can't let my body go. So in a weird kind of way, I'm forced to go to the gym and burn off calories and exercise, or else I will not feel right.
yeah, definitely. Some people, can get away with more, as far as their health. Like my brother, if he doesn't eat healthy, like he has to eat like a raw vegan diet or he gets sick, literally. Like
Veganism
he's
is
really,
healthy. You just have to get your proteins. If you eat a lot of beans and lentils, you can live like a king. You can like the thing with veganism is you've got to get your protein. And I like about veganism, if you do it right, you feel like $1,000,000. I wish they would legalize hemp. Hemp powder can be made into a bread, and it's got every amino acid known to man. So there's so many healthy vegan options there. And I'm not against. There's a trend out there saying that veganism causes cancer. I mean, I don't think that people should be forced into veganism, but it is not a bad option if you know how to do it. The only downside is that right now you have to be wealthy to do veganism because the stuff that people are eating is pretty expensive.
well, the thing about veganism is it can be deceptive because you can eat fucking Oreos and say you're a vegan.
Yeah, but you can be
Now,
unhealthy and see a vegan could eat French fries and drink beer and be very unhealthy.
yeah, but like, I mean, when you're like truly like eating just fruits and vegetables, I've been trying to do a lot of juices like celery and carrot, and I went 3 days where I just drank veggie juice, and I felt like
Yeah,
$1,000,000.
yeah, you do because it cleans out your system. I totally agree. That's the way to go. And I think this is like when we get into TFL counseling or coaching, what I want to do is I want to teach guys how we can cope with life by being healthy, and we are going to have to emotionally connect, because if we don't, we got a problem. I mean, I right now there's kind of this hyper homophobia going on in the whole manosphere, and I think that's wrong, because that's just making men even worse.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier today how pathetic guys can be. I was at school, and there's this girl I've been friends with for about 6 months. And, I really have a crush on her, but I don't have any illusions really. I know she's probably not interested in me because she's a really pretty girl. But this guy came in and he was like trying to talk to her under the guise that he was really interested in what she was studying. She was studying applied anatomy, and he was acting like he was all interested in that. And I was like, give me a fucking break. This guy is sitting here acting all friendly like he gives a fuck what she's studying. Come on, dude. And I've seen that guy multiple times, but he never talks to me. But he's going to the pretty blonde girl and pretend to be interested in applied anatomy. It's just crazy.
Right.
Like guys are just so phony a lot of
Yeah, I
times.
think so too. Well, I'd like to get this. I'm down to 3 subscribers on my Patreon channel, and I don't blame people, because if you're not delivering content, they're not obligated to deliver donation. I mean, like subscriptions and things. But I am going into this because I think it's time that if I can balance my workload, which I've already figured out how to do it financially, where you don't have to work 60 hours a week and then try to juggle this type of thing. I think I want to learn how to do, you have to learn how to do website design. Or you can, at a minimal level, you don't have to be perfect, but there's this bulletin board software I could buy. It's like 200 something bucks. And then I could create, like, within my site, like a bulletin board for TFL. I think we need to have a bulletin board strictly devoted to TFL. What do you think of that?
Um, yeah, but like what kind of stuff would you put on it exactly?
A
Just
bulletin board, they make that bulletin board. It's called V Bulletin or something. It's a standard format. You'll see it, like almost everybody that runs a bulletin board uses the same software. And it's a template, basically. You don't have to know HTML. You don't have to know Cascade style sheets, and you don't need to. You just basically buy the software, download it, and you set it up. You get a login name, and you just log right into it. It's a bulletin board, basically, and that's kind of what I'd like to have.
yeah. So you mentioned earlier that they were talking about incel on Fox News. Were they just
Yep.
talking about the statistics about?
Oh yeah, they said the statistics are at least 30% or 40% of men are between 18 to 30 are like either virgins or they're in involuntary. They didn't say incel. They said not having sex, which is, in my opinion, not having sex is TFL, because
Yeah.
Bill can say what he wants about, well, it's not about sex. It's not, but if you're in a relationship, you're having sex, or at least you're getting ready to. So it's basic. I call it TFL because I think most men really ultimately want to find a relationship.
Well, yeah. Usually whenever you talk about uh, a relationship, sex, is a big part of that. It's just it's just part of the experience. So, like, if guys complain about sex, they may be complaining about a lack of sex, but they're also complaining about a lack of interaction with women, in my opinion. So what was their slant on it, Steve? Steve.
Yes, I'm listening. Here's the thing: it wasn't a slant. I couldn't read it because I didn't. I'm running on the. I think they have the titles on there, but let's see. Hold on 1 second. One guy wants to get in the chat here. Um, Jim Leahy says, "Can I get in the chat, Steve?" Sure, that'd be great. Jim, I just put my email address there. Just copy and paste it right now as we speak. It's you see it right there in the chat. Because I'm going to delete it in a second. I don't put any email in the chat if I can avoid it. So copy it quick, copy and paste it, and then you can get right into here. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
So they were talking about TFL on Fox News. Like, what was their slant?
I don't know what their slant was. Doubt Migtown wants to get back in the chat here. Okay, cool. I will get him in here too. I'm going to get a couple. Oh, this is going to be a great chat tonight. Hold on. Hold on 1 second here. I'm going to get him in the chat too. Hey, Dusty, you'll be able to talk to him too, okay? They didn't have a slant. I got to watch it. Dusty, I don't know. What got me was this. When I'm on the treadmill and I'm running and I see the headlines, it said more men are living in involuntary celibacy than ever before. As soon as I saw that, I was captivated. But when you're running 8 miles an hour or 7 miles an hour, it's very hard to concentrate.
Yeah, well, if you remember, I sent you an article a few weeks ago about those stats. I sent it to your email. I don't know if you got it, but I was reading the comments to that article, and people were really nasty. They were like saying stuff like, "Oh, all the incels are Trump supporters and stuff."
Leahy, I don't know if you want to get into the chat. Okay, great. It says Perdalo. Oh man, this channel. This is going to be awesome. I can hybrid this whole thing where I can still do free stuff and then do the Patreon. Go ahead, Dusty.
Yeah, so like I was reading the comments to that article, and the people were just really nasty. They were saying all the guys who are incel are just Trump supporters, and that's why
Trump is a fraud. You know what Trump proved? That there is no hope for the political system. If a guy like Trump can't change the system or at least make an attempt to, we've proven one thing, that the game is up. It's all over. It really is. Trump got elected. He proved that who the hell is this? Who's putting this stuff in here?
Oh, do you not like that?
No, it's not. It isn't a. I just don't want to get cited. See, the problem with that is you're putting that in my chat, and I don't want to get.
All right, how about this? Is this better?
What is that thing?
That's my animated avatar.
Okay, that's fine. I guess I just don't want it to. I don't think it will get me kicked out, get me a strike on my.
Well,
account.
I mean, I do it on pretty much every single one of my streams, and I never have an issue.
Okay, just keep it. Yeah, I just don't want to keep it. Just let me just see your icon instead. That'd be fine.
Yep.
So what's up?
Oh man, I'm having a great night.
I'm having a great night too. Great. I mean, sounds good. I want to get this Leahy guy. He says, okay. He says I'll be jumping in 15. Did you get my email, Jim Leahy? I hope you did. He said he'll get me in. Send me an email, and then what I'll do is I will send you the link when you get in here. Okay. You'll have to go in here, but I need to get an email. Here's the deal here. When you guys send me your email address, I will delete it as quick as you put it in here. And then I can, but I have to, that's the way I do it until I get the other, that's how I do it. So go ahead.
So I'm curious, Steve. You said earlier that you were having a meetup in Cleveland. Can you provide more details about that?
I haven't decided when it's going to happen. It's not going to happen probably till fall, but I'm going to have a meetup, and I can find affordable accommodations so that you don't spend a lot of money.
Huh, okay.
It's going to be for TFLers. And I think it's a good thing that we physically start connecting. That's the only way this stuff can go.
See, my question about that is why only TFLers?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be just TFLers, but I would like to. No, I don't think if you're a MGTOW, that would be fine too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, if you give me the details about that, I'd love to share that around the community. Anytime us men can get together.
It's not cut in stone yet. It's going to happen because...
No, I'm saying when you have the details.
Yeah, I'll probably have the details in a month. I will make the plans, and once I make the plans, I want to make it cut in stone. I don't want to make a promise and then not deliver.
For
Because
sure.
I've done that before, God forbid. Go ahead, Dusty. Talk to this guy.
How's it going, brother
So,
Dusty?
pretty good. How are you? I don't think I've seen any of your videos before, but nice to meet you.
Well, if that's the case, I really recommend you check out my ethical evolution video and my latest series, a 3-parter of Project Mayhem.
Okay, cool. What are they about?
Ethical evolution is the predicament men find themselves in modern days, and the answer of where our next steps of evolution could go and how we could get there.
So, yeah, sounds good. Do you talk a lot about how, like, technology kind of factors into that,
Absolutely.
dating app, social media? Because I was telling Steve, I don't know if you heard, but I really think those things are a big factor in what a lot of guys are going through, especially millennials and the younger generation.
And the thing about it is that it's for the guys who are not the most desirable. All it really does for them is increase the amount of times they get rejected. Because every single girl that they find attractive that ignores them or treats them like shit is just a whole nother rejection that they wouldn't have had if they weren't on the app.
Yeah, I was reading an article about online dating the other day, and it was guys giving their thoughts on it, and there was this one guy who was talking about how he had normal success in real life, as far as dating women in a social circle. But he said when he got on those apps, he never had any success. And he was like, if I wasn't having normal success in my day to day life, I would probably develop a complex based off my experiences on those apps. And I was thinking, well, no shit. Because that's the experience for a lot of guys. You get nothing but rejection, and it really messes with your head.
See, the thing is, though, about rejection is it's supposed to be healthy for you. When you're able to deal with rejection and then be angry.
Sounds
Dusty,
good to
you're
me.
cutting out a lot. I don't know if it's
Okay, so
on
I'll
my.
try it again.
Do you
So for rejection, it's supposed to be good for you. It's supposed to make you angry enough to fix the problem. But when you can't control the problem, when the problem's not within your range to fix, then you only have so many options. And MGTOW is the option that says, you know what, I'm going to keep my strength, I'm going to keep my authority, and I'm going to go my own way.
Yeah, like when I was younger, I had a lot of issues. Like I was really shy, and I had really bad self esteem, and I wasn't doing a whole lot with my life.
How
And
old are you, brother?
I'm 28.
Oh, okay. I'm 32.
So, oh, nice, nice. We're about the same age. You're about the same age as my brother.
Okay.
But he was born in '87. But when I was in high school, like I was telling Steve, like I had a lot of options, but I was like shy back then to the extent that it was pathological. Like I just didn't know how to act. But I got over my social anxiety, and I did the PUA stuff, and I got out a lot and took dance lessons and all that crap. But it did help me out. Like I finally lost my virginity, and I started having some success with
At
women.
what age did you lose your virginity?
At 24.
Was that by choice?
No, because when I was younger, I was really shy, and didn't have any game to speak up.
Well, no, but wouldn't that be by choice if you didn't choose to push yourself beyond your own shyness?
Yeah, I suppose so, but it didn't feel that way at the time, because like
Sure.
it was
Well,
all
because
like,
it didn't feel easy, you didn't feel encouraged, but it was your choice not to push beyond the shyness, right?
yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying like, I did fix myself in a lot of ways, but I've gotten to the point now where I feel like my life's going pretty good. I'm in better
That's good to
shape.
hear, man.
I'm in better shape physically and emotionally. I dress better. I'm going to school. I've got a good career outlook. I just got a great internship opportunity.
Well, I have a
You
question for
know,
you, because I
yeah.
think I know where you're going with this, and if I'm going in the wrong direction with this question, please let me know. Uh, would you be okay, and would you be happy, and would your life be fulfilled if you never get a partner?
Um, Honestly, I would like to say yes, but no. Like, I'm not to that point yet.
What do you think is providing that value? Or let me rephrase it. If that's the case, where you've all this good stuff going for you, you're a happy dude,
Yeah.
you are comfortable with who you are and what you've done and what you're doing, why would the lack of a woman being there make all of that less valuable?
I, that's a good question. I can't really answer that. It's just something.
Well, okay, let me ask it in a different way. Would it literally, like factually, make it less valuable, or would it make it less valuable to yourself?
It wouldn't factually make it less valuable, no.
So then it'd be subjectively to how you feel about yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So take away the authority of the woman to provide you with the validation. Instead of seeing yourself as a drop of water, see yourself as a drop of gold. Give yourself that amount of value and live your life as if it is so. Because you already are a worthwhile man, you're happy, you're secure. There's no need to allow the validation of a woman to provide you with the value that you should have already. And I'm not telling you anything new. I'm sure you've thought of this, but sometimes reinforcement helps, and a community that is supportive and letting you know that, hey man, you're a strong brother, you have a lot to offer, you help the community and all of these things. It's a good thing to remember.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me get in here for a second. Um, when in doubt, I don't have a problem with what you're saying here. MGTOW has gone full circle with this. What you're saying. Why should a man why should a man feel that he has to feel that way? Because see, here's the thing: we've already understand that most men who are TFL do go through life without a woman. They do validate themselves. They do have good jobs. Many of them do, and maybe they just would like to feel that that's one element of their life they would like to complete. And I think that what you're trying to do is negate that.
Well, I'm not saying, okay, so I'm not saying repel women. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a monk. I'm not saying completely cut women out of your life. I am saying that if you do find a partner, or you never find a partner, you should
Well, no, you
never
don't have a
allow.
choice. If you can't
Well, I'm
find
not
a
saying it's your
partner,
choice. I'm
you
saying
have.
either
Well,
you will or you won't. And
well,
if
no,
you
no. I think
don't let that hurt you.
most people agree with this. Let me just say this, and I'll let Dusty
Sure.
talk, because I have to. I paused myself for a minute, but I got to get in here. Here's the thing. Okay, I think most guys are aware that if they're living TFL and it's going to exist for the next 20 years or 10 years, yes, they have to validate themselves without a woman. Okay, but they don't want that option if they don't have to have it. Obviously, that is what I want to teach guys how to cope with that. And I guess you want to take it a little bit further. I
Well, I
think
mean,
that,
the ultimate coping is to allow yourself to get over the problem.
well, we're doing that. We're already doing that. But what do you do when you go out in public all the time and you see a guy holding hands with a girl or a guy
Not
with a
pay
girl?
any fucking attention, and I hope that she's
Well,
not
you say
raping
you
him.
don't, okay, but I don't think you understand that most of the people in my chat don't want that.
Well, I
They
don't
are
think
looking.
you understand that I was one of these guys once, and I made the choice to be different,
How
to
can you
not
expect
give it,
everybody to follow that?
because it's a hard decision and it's not easy. But just like any other man before, greatness requires determination. And if you want to take your power back, and if you want to say, you know what, I know what I'm worth, and this is what I'm fucking worth. And I'm not
Okay,
giving this up.
I think
You just have to
most
make a
guys in
choice
the
to do
chat
that.
have done that. I
Well,
think
no,
they know
I
what they're.
disagree. Because when I'm talking to Dusty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dusty, and I'm talking to Dusty here, and unless I'm wrong, it sounds like he's aware of this, but he's not applying it. And applying it is the difference.
I think he is applying it. He's gone his whole life, for the most part, living TFL,
Well,
and
let's
he
ask
would.
Dusty. Dusty, do you think that what I'm saying you're actually like you're aware of it, right? But do you think you're actually doing it?
I'm definitely aware of it, but it's one of those things where, it's easier said than done. You know
For
what I
sure,
mean?
definitely.
It's like there's these three. Are you aware of like the three principles?
Of
Basically, then I take it you're not familiar. Basically, it's the principles of thought, like how thought creates your reality. Like these people are basically, their whole philosophy is thought creates your reality. So whenever you're angry or you're having trouble, just realize that none of it's real. It's thoughts. Now that's a nice concept,
okay, so I hear what you're saying,
but
and if I'm
yeah,
wrong, correct me. But you're saying that
yeah,
what I'm saying is imagine that you are this, and then eventually you'll be this.
yeah,
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. It could sound like it, but what I am saying is if you literally are reassigning the value of yourself and you hold yourself higher and you hold yourself above women, seeing all the bullshit
well,
options out there, you don't need to wait for their validation. Sorry, go ahead.
well, well. Let me like clarify some things.
Okay.
Like I do think that as I've gotten older, like I have more pride. Like I'm not putting up with bullshit from women. I'm not chasing women. I'm not dealing with their bad behavior. So I think I have grown to a point where I value myself much more than I did when I was younger. Like a lot of guys will just put up with anything for a chance to get a little validation from women.
Okay. I think we're
Yeah.
talking about two different aspects. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about like self image. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about like how much you respect yourself. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like literally taking your value as a person, and instead of letting the fact that you're not with a partner matter, just saying, you know what, I have this much value regardless. Having a partner would be nice, but I am worth this much. I don't need to let myself feel down or hurt because of it. And even though the reality is you may feel depressed at points, the whole thing is it takes that's part of life. There's negative and positive cycles, and you just have
Yeah.
to be strong enough to push yourself through the negative cycles.
Okay,
Have
I think
friends, have community, and so on.
when in doubt, I think people have done that. I think people want to know that they have the option to turn it down. If you're being rejected in the dating scene, do you think women really care that you validate yourself and you're a man? If you're at the gym and some girl that's 75 pounds overweight sees that you're validating yourself as a man, do you think she really gives a crap that you're doing that? You
Well, why
seem to
would
think
you
it's
give a
like it's
crap
so
if she does or she
empowering.
doesn't?
It's not that empowering when you don't have
Don't give a crap
options.
if she gives a crap or not.
It's called liars committing suicide. It's kind of like if somebody, you can't get a job or you get fired from every time you get a new job and you say, well, I'm too good for that. They don't need a nice guy like me anyways.
No,
I mean, at
that's
some
not the same
point you
thing.
have to, and this is what I'm talking about. I don't think people want to hear the same rhetoric about just, I understand what you're saying, that ultimately you do have to validate yourself without a woman. But when you don't have that option, are you really being honest with yourself?
Okay, well, for example, I was just talking to some bitch earlier today, and she's like a 24-year-old fat, ugly bitch that I was like, you know what, let me see what her personality is like. And she has no idea what being an adult is. She has no idea what being in a relationship is. And I just fucking basically laughed at her and trolled her. And I was like, look, I'm not interested in moving forward with you. And that was it. I made the
Right, and,
decision
and
to
most
talk
of
to
us
her.
can do that, but I don't think these
Really? But
overweight
I
women
didn't get a
really
gun
care.
to my head. I mean, like, you see, you're just
I,
talking
I
about
mean,
having
I like your
options. And I just
empowering message.
displayed an
I don't
example
think
of having an option.
When in doubt, first of all, you have options. You have women, you have at least 2 women that you can regularly hook up with. If you don't, you have an option, so it's easy for you to say that when you have at least 2 options. If you got no
Even if
options,
I had no options, brother, it'd be the same damn thing.
you don't know that. You have
I
options, so
I
you
can
can't
tell
say
you
that.
that for X03.
So when is the last time you had no options where you could go months or years without a woman even pining for your interest? When was the last time you went like that? I can tell you how long it's been for me, about 6.5 years.
I would say about 7 years ago for a 3-year span.
Okay, so you went, so you know, and you somehow found a way to deal with it by validating, which I think you're saying that you didn't care either way, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I wanted to shoot my load and I wanted to have a girlfriend, but I didn't let that get me down that it wasn't happening. Even though
It doesn't get me down. It's just that I'm relating to guys that don't want to. I don't want to be like the standard run-of-the-mill MGTOW where they pretend that they're tough guys when they're really not. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying Mike the MGTOW monk is, but there's a lot of guys out there, many of whom have deleted. There was a guy, Truth Over Everything. He was this Eastern European mid-20s guy from Canada back in 2014 and 15, and he was talking his tough macho-ness. He did a weightlifting book he was giving out for free, and he just jettisoned the project, deleted his channel. Same thing with Red Pill Brotherhood. These are guys that you don't want to take advice from. They talk this nonsense, how tough they are, but they're really not. I'm 48
well, I, mean,
years
I
old.
don't I
I've
don't
read
think
through
I've
all the
said
bullshit.
anything about
I'm
being
old enough
tough.
to. Anytime I hear some young guy acting tough, especially if he's in his 20s,
How do you define tough? Like where do you get this context from? Because I didn't say anything about being tough.
Context, you haven't been around MGTOW long enough. You don't remember Truth Over Everything. He was this guy, this Eastern
I don't need
European.
to. The MGTOW that I'm running with is my MGTOW.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. I'm telling you what I've seen. They all leave.
Okay.
They all leave. They all act tough and they all leave.
Where do they go
And
when
they're
they
preaching
leave?
the same message you're preaching. They're saying, "Oh, you got to be in touch with yourself. You got to go to the gym and you got to be tough." And
I'm not
they
telling anyone to
all
go to the
do.
gym.
They all have a MGTOW nervous breakdown.
When you say these
Yeah.
guys leave, where do they go?
I don't know where they go. They delete their channels and they never come back. I've been accused of that too, and I've done it. But I do come back, and I do have a lot of my old content up still, and I may release it all at some point.
Okay, so here's a question. TFL. Some guys think that maybe even me personally enjoys seeing TFL guys suffer. That's not the case. As far as I'm concerned, you guys are my brothers just as much as MGTOW are.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you guys.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just noticed you had a troll, and right as
I kicked him out. He's gone. He's gone.
yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, I'm dropping bombs. I'm dropping truth bombs here. Truth over everything. I like you being in this chat because whatever you throw at me, I'm going to tell you I've been down that road before. I've seen these guys come and go. There was a really good MGTOW content producer named Gregory Becker, and I don't believe he was TFL. He was dealing with real issues. Now, he was a true MGTOW. He was a divorced guy. I think he had a daughter. But they're far and few. Most of these guys, they completely delete their channels. There's a pattern to this thing. Listen, the powers that be have figured out that there are certain people that just can't take the truth. They're not being honest. Chris Cantu is another one. He kind of just jettisoned the project. He's still around, but he's just kind of up and down. This guy, Buffalo Bill, says, so what is solution according to this guy? He's talking to you. Buffalo Bill wants to know, what is your solution? Just to believe in yourself and just ignore it?
Well, okay, so as far as how you view yourself, that's just the foundation, right? That's the foundation of yourself. Now, as far as the solution of what? What are you asking for the solution of?
Okay, let's say okay, I'm going to be very graphic. You want to get some pussy. You're horny and you want some real pussy. And you realize that your options of getting that real pussy are not there. It isn't cost I could just spend $20. No, the government has already purposely done this. And I never used Backpage, but they've shut down every option that guys could possibly have. And so there is a war against sexuality. There's a war against men having intimate relationships with women. We clearly see this. Why would the government need to go to this length to do this if they didn't believe that this was a powerful drive? There is something something very eerie and sinister going on. How do you like them apples?
So the question then would be, if you wanted to get pussy, what would my solution be? Well,
your solution is just make a phone call because you got 2 or 3 women that want to lay you at any time.
Well, that would be my personal
Dusty
answer.
doesn't have that.
As
Bill's
a solution
married.
for other men,
I'm not saying
it
that
would
that's
be,
my goal.
It depends on what risks you're willing to take.
I'm not willing to take the risk of disease.
If you didn't mind paying for a hooker or a prostitute or an escort,
it's not an option. They've shut down those options.
If you don't mind getting with ugly bitches that are skinks, you can
wait. How do you know people have
online? There's option. There are options. For example, in my meetup I'm having next year for my first anniversary for the meeting of mayhem, anyone who shows up will have free access to one of the live prostitutes on site. So anyone who gets there is getting laid.
Okay, I've got you muted in here because I'm going to mute you because we were talking over each other. First of all, when in doubt, I think this is bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's bullshit. Because I don't think you understand that men don't have those options. You make it look like just call 1-800-DIAL-A-HO and you've got options, okay? Now, I agree with Bill that the TFL thing is real, that it's not about sex for a lot of guys. A lot of guys would ultimately like to find a relationship. But you make it look like any man can just have that option. I don't have that option. Dusty doesn't have that option. Half the people in my chat don't know and have that option. So you assume people have that option. You're making assumptions, and that is wrong. Dusty, what do you think?
I will say that, not everybody has options because, I have to put in tons of effort to get anything going with women. Like I got laid last May, so it's been almost a year, and I had to put in tons of work to get that to happen. So yes, it does.
Not to mention this, you cannot just approach women at the gym because if you approach them, they'll think you're creepy. If you approach 5 women at the gym, that's going to be enough that, hey, that guy's approaching women. Okay, so men don't have these.
Let me tell you this, Steve. I went to a meeting.
I'll let him back in the chat shortly. Go ahead.
I went to a meeting today for a job. There was an information session, and there was a cute girl in the room when I walked in there, and she made eye contact and smiled. And this happened at least 3 times. So I'm pretty sure this girl was attracted to me. She was kind of giving me signs. And that's like the first time that's happened to me in months. Like, I just don't get those kind of signals from women very much.
Well, that's good. And you found a woman that does. I haven't had a woman give me signals other than fuck off signals. That's the only signal. Go ahead. When in doubt, go ahead. Say your piece. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
But yes, it's definitely challenging for a lot of guys.
Okay. We were talking over each other. That's why I cut him down.
And you're trolling back.
No, and all I'm saying is this. I'm not accusing when in doubt of trying to thwart what we're trying to do. I want to make guys aware of TFL because I think guys should have a woman in their life ultimately if they so choose. But that option doesn't exist, and you're lying to yourself when you say, well, I'm a man. Like all these guys just talk their nonsense, and they act tough. Even that guy, that Big John, he wanted to find a woman in his life, and he wasn't getting a woman. So he put on the strongman narrative, and in the end, he of course, he pulled down his shit too, like they all do.
Yeah, definitely. Steve, your troll is back.
Who's my troll?
The Steve Hoca guy.
Oh, this is another one. Okay, I'm just going to, guess what? I get to kick this guy out too. Okay, he's out. Go ahead. See, it's amazing. They create these channels, and I just one click, and they're out. Go ahead.
I don't understand why someone would put in that much effort, but whatever.
I give you a hint. I think the guy trolling me is a guy that weighs 600 pounds that used to know Bill.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
a. So go ahead.
Hey, I want to ask you. I remember you used to do videos with Bill and Dwayne Holloway. Was that his name?
Yeah, that was Bill. Yeah.
And who was the other guy? Because there was you,
Oh,
Bill,
there was
Dwayne.
Robert. Robert, you're thinking of Robert Strickland.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Bill and him had a falling out over something. It was a personal issue, a moral issue, and I don't want to talk about it on here, but I don't know the details. But maybe Bill will tell you sometime. But Robert actually was a pretty sharp guy. He came across as kind of a country bumpkin, but he's just a pretty. I listened to his chats. He was pretty sharp.
Yeah, I kind of wondered because he always seemed kind of interesting in the chat y'all had, but I haven't heard anything from him in years, so I was kind of wondering. Do you know if he's doing okay?
I don't. I have no clue. But go ahead. When in doubt, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, why do you guys think I'm here? I'm not getting paid to talk to you guys.
At this point, I'm not either.
Okay. Well, in that case, brother, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that you would reconsider at some point in the future. But I don't want to waste my time. I wish all of you guys good luck.
Wait, why are you kidding? Why are you kidding out of here?
Because I don't want to waste my time, and if I'm just going to be laughed at and mocked.
I'm not mocking you. I'm just putting up some opposition.
Well, I mean, also like you ask me a question and I'm answering it, and then you talk over me and mute me instead of letting me answer the question.
Well, somebody in the chat said we were talking over each other. That's why I muted you.
Right.
Okay. So all I said when in doubt was this, is that I understand what you're saying, that yes, men should ultimately take their balls back. Most of us have, but do you think there's a biological element in us that makes us still want to be validated by women? Okay, I'll be honest about it. I mean, we all kind of want to feel like we're liked.
Well, okay, so I can really only speak for myself because that's who I know intimately. And I gave the example of the chick I was talking to earlier today because I have made a fundamental change in myself where even though I want pussy, I'm not willing to sacrifice my divine authority to make that bitch happy so that I can get pussy. I'm not willing to submit. I require submission from a female. And if I don't get it, fuck it. Fuck it. That's just it.
Oh, I agree. You know what? You're right about that because that falls into the idea that most women nowadays want a submissive guy. They really don't want a strong man. That's absolutely true because what you're saying when in doubt is that the kind of man you are, which is a masculine man, you can't get a woman that will appreciate a masculine man. They want a submissive guy. But guess what? You're telling them, no, I don't want that. I'm kind of the same way because I don't fall into that. I'm kind of middle of the road. I'm not a wimp, but I'm certainly not a masculine. So in middle of the road is a worse place to be because you're nothing. In the middle of the road means you don't have a definition of yourself. At least in their eyes, you don't.
Right. It's not easy to categorize you when you're too
right.
complex.
If you're a wussy, you know, like what Hell by the Dashboard Light was saying was that he is seeing this, and I've noticed this even before he mentioned it. I go down to the amusement park, and you'll see some fat, schlubby, hubby, oofy doofy holding hands with a mildly, I'll be used loosely, mildly attractive woman. And why are these guys able to hook up with women? Why would where are these chads they're talking about? I'm still not seeing these chads.
That's the thing, though, too, is I could really care less about all the Chad talk nonsense because it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is my own subjective reality because that's the life I have to live.
Okay, Dusty, you weigh in.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. You know, don't get me wrong. I definitely think that guys should, you know, try to love themselves, you know, even if they're going through this TFL thing. Like one of the things I've always said, and I've noticed that a lot of TFL incel guys are very self-loathing. They identify themselves as ugly. You know, maybe it's true. Maybe a guy isn't, you know, what's usually considered good looking, but I think it's kind of stupid to sit and call yourself ugly. Like, what's the point? I
Yeah, you're
think you've
just
got,
tearing yourself down.
yeah, definitely. I think instead of focusing on the negatives, you should like try to remember your good qualities, and think, hey, maybe like for me, one of the things is I've always been kind of insecure about my teeth. I don't have the best teeth. So I try to remember, hey, I've got all these other good qualities and try not to focus on that so much.
Does that stop you from smiling a full smile?
Um, yeah,
See,
probably
for me,
so.
I don't have the greatest teeth either, but I smile as wide as I can because it makes me happy to do so. I don't care about the
Yeah.
collective or
The
external
teeth.
validation.
Listen, I know I was working at a restaurant not too long ago. I mean, well, about a year ago, and one of the guys working there. I mean, he was in management, and he had really not so appeasing teeth. Okay, and I'm not trying to be disparaging to the guy. Very attractive wife. And at least moderately attractive wife. I mean, you cannot put a finger on, oh, it's your teeth, it's your balding hairline, it's your belly, it's this, it's that. You don't have status. You're only making 40,000 a year instead of 70,000. All these things can be defeated by guys that have women that do not have these things. So all these theories are just bunk.
Well, I think the point I was trying to make here with Dusty is that, you know, regardless of if it is making you more successful with women or not, allowing yourself to have a full smile, if it makes you happier, is something that will make you happier. So don't stop yourself from doing it just because of your less attractive mouthpiece.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's why, like, I have a belly. I'm not in the best shape, but I still walk around with my shirt off when it's hot, so I can feel that sun coming down on my skin. It's just, you got to do the little things that make yourself feel good, the little things that make yourself happy. Because if you don't have someone else there to do it, you can always do it for yourself.
Yeah. Like I've always gone out to restaurants and movie theaters and stuff by myself, and I've had people tell me that that's weird.
And I hear you on that too, because when I used to do that a lot too, but then I would find myself getting kind of depressed just because I'd want to like look over and talk to the person, and I want to make a comment or whatever, but like, oh my god, and I was there by myself, and I was like, okay, well, this isn't fun anymore. So there's still that that opportunity for depression. It's just there's
Yeah.
gonna be depression in a relationship or out of a relationship. You just either way, you have to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, well, where I was going with that, I used to go out, and do stuff by myself, and people would tell me it's weird, and I would get self-conscious because other people said it was weird, and I would think, well,
Huh.
wait a minute, I would think, wait a minute, I'm not going to stop living my life because someone else thinks it's weird, you
So
know?
you were going and you had no issues with it until
Yeah.
someone else said it was weird?
Yeah, you would hear, like I would hear people say, I never do that. I only go out whenever I have other people with me.
See,
Yeah.
you and I, brother, we have a pretty different mindsets about some things. Because like when I went out by myself, and for a while it was super fun, and then eventually I got depressed because I wanted someone to share it with. That's what made me turn away from it. But you were completely fine until someone spotted or gave you the validation or the devalidation, I guess, by saying it was weird, and then all of a sudden you didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, I wouldn't say I didn't want to do it anymore. It just did make me kind of aware, more self conscious about it. But I never stopped wanting to do stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? And yeah, Steve's talked about this. He says that, you never see guys out alone. So I think there are definitely a lot of guys
Let me
who,
ask you. Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. Let me say it like this.
If you're
When in doubt,
directing towards the edge, you can just call me Doubt, brother.
doubt. Okay, I'll call you doubt. Doubt. Let me put it to you like this. If guys were so comfortable with themselves being by themselves, why don't you see single guys walking alone in an amusement park? I don't see it very often, and believe me,
Because
I look
amusement
for it.
parks sucks, and they're usually for children.
And they're
So
for
if
well, there's couples there too.
I take my son to amusement parks, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
go
but
alone.
you're in
That's
a safe
fucking
environment. You got your kids. That's different.
no. What I'm saying is an amusement park, at least in my opinion, is no place for an adult male. Go to a place that suits adult males.
Yes,
That's
you know
not
what I
my
call
sort of
that?
fun.
You're going to be the guy sitting alone at the bar. I can do that, and a lot of guys try to do that. But I think a lot of single men, the only two options that they've got is the gym and the bar, and that's the only place where a single guy can feel comfortable. That's about it.
It depends on your biases or your interests. Like you can go to an arcade, you can go to the mall, you can go to stores, you can frequent areas. If you have any sort of sports initiatives or sports inclinations, you can go to the park. You can just play a sport. You can contact a friend, take them to the park with you, play some frisbee, play some catch. Just you can go out and do things.
You can do things, but most heterosexual guys don't want to be. Did you ever hear Hell the Dashboard Light talking? He goes, I don't want to be around another horny penis. He says he doesn't value men at all. And here's a guy that's angry at women. He has no value for men at all.
Well, if that's the case, he's probably very isolated, and I feel sorry for him. No one should have to feel isolated. You can't
Well,
cut
yeah, you're
yourself
right.
off from
He
community.
chooses that, but nevertheless, that's the way it is. And I've got another guy coming in
For
the
him,
chat.
maybe.
Yeah. Leahy's going to be coming in the chat. I just sent him an invite, so he should be in here shortly. But I'll have another guy. This is going to be a nice chat. I got 53 in the chat. And by the way, I'm absolutely enjoying chatting with you, Doubt. Definitely.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm enjoying myself.
I am too. It's good. It's really good.
Hey, Steve, your troll's back. And you
That's all
just
right.
got
Just keep kicking them out. That's all right. He's going to run out of trolls in a second. I just keep kicking them out.
That's the second time I've mentioned it right as you deleted him. You're pretty quick, Steve.
Oh, I'm quick. I monitor this chat really good. I got another guy coming in here named Leahy, and he should be in here shortly, and he wants to weigh in on this. I deleted his email out of the chat, so I always tell people if you put your email in the chat box to get on here, I will delete it so that when I re-upload this stuff, you don't see people don't have your information. So I keep it quick.
Here's a question for the TFL guys. If you have been in a relationship before, if you've ever been in a serious relationship, why did your longest relationship or your most serious relationship not work out?
Mine. I mean, I'll answer that question. I was kind of flighty. Okay, I was not going to be ruled in the relationship, and I wound up being middle of the road. And okay, for example, when you're in a relationship, I don't care what people say. Sex is pretty much given if you cooperate. But sex didn't mean much to me. Once you have access to it, it's kind of like I'd just rather stay home and watch Netflix. And so I would say kind of I maybe took the girl for granted. I've done that. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not perfect. I'm just being honest here. But nevertheless, I think women just have way more options, and we all know that. They flake out on men. I would say 80% of the breakups are probably women initiating them.
Okay, Dusty?
Like I said, when I was younger, I was very shy, so I didn't have much success with women. And even now, I've never been in a real relationship. I've been on some dates. So
I didn't know that. Okay, so you've never been in a relationship?
No.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I just haven't as things.
I mean, what I mean to say is, have you ever found a woman that you would like? Like you were like, yes, I want to be in a relationship with you.
Well, there's one right now that I really like. Yeah.
You like her, but does she like you, Dusty?
Are you guys dating? Like, what's the current recourse?
Let me get your opinion on this, guys. So, I'm in a program called Work Study at my university. It's where the federal government basically pays you to do work around the campus. And I've been kind of friends with this girl for months. There's a lot of playfulness between us, and You know, a lot of lighthearted banter and a lot of strong eye contact. And she's broken the touch barrier with me, and she's asked me outright if I had a girlfriend before. And she's complimented my appearance multiple times. So I think there is some interest on her end, but she's also done things that confuse me. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. But I definitely like her personality. You know, I've been talking to her for months. So, yeah.
So you've
I
been
do
talking to her
definitely.
for months, and you've been interested in her, but you haven't pursued her?
No, not directly because this is a work/school situation, you know, and plus, you know, I have the emotional baggage of a lot of rejection, and I've just kind of been in a holding pattern, you know, to kind of, and, you know, until I had more clarity on the situation. But as time goes on, I'm really leaning towards her being interested, but, you know, I'm still not sure.
Hello?
What about her drive? So, hi Jim, how you doing? We can hear you, brother. What about her specifically makes you actually want to be in a relationship with her?
I just feel comfortable around her. She's a really nice girl. She seems down to earth. You know, it just feels good to be around her, and we just seem to have a vibe. You know what I mean? Like we just get along.
Okay,
Oh,
my camera's back on. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Jim Leahy. I want to hear you talk.
Hey Steve, how you doing?
Are you from England or from?
Yeah, I'm from England. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well,
definitely.
I don't want to pretend that the dating scene is the same everywhere because I'm sure with my
It's
nice.
pretty similar to the US from what I've looked at. Basically, in the Western world, if it's primarily an English-speaking country, so I'd include Australia in this, the dating environment's pretty similar. There's going to be some differences, but I mean, for example, Face LMS, he's from London, UK, and the
Right.
date market's no better here. It's just as bad.
Now he's not an
So-
Anglo-Brit though. He's like a black
No,
guy from the
he's
islands.
not. But the issues you talked about, it crosses over with the US. So
Okay,
we have
okay.
a lot in
I'm
common.
not disparaging it, but you know, there's a difference. I think when I want to hear about the dating scene, I want to hear what is it like for an average British person who, you know, of obviously your stock that is from England, that's lived probably got 18 generations from there.
Yeah.
What do you feel like a stranger in your own country?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. That's why a lot of people are actually, well, fleeing the country, maybe going to Eastern Europe or even Southeast Asia as well. It does feel that way, but we have got a lot of people now that have been indoctrinated with this political correctness, that it's like a
Right,
religion to
right. I
them.
think England, and pretty much England, has sold itself out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
It's a country of tolerance. It's
yeah,
like how you earn status in our society now is how big a victim you are.
right.
It's funny
So-
when like the PUA say status for men. Well, actually, to get more status as a man these days, you need to portray weakness. You need to be
Yes,
a
yes.
victim.
Oh, absolutely. See, this
Yeah.
is the fundamental problem. I imagine if I could somehow get myself into a social circle where I could display weakness, I'm sure I could do better in a potential relationship. But I come across as kind of the middle of the road person, and I'm not a person that, you know, you see relationships are very one-sided nowadays, and if the woman wants to be in control, and I don't
Yeah,
think that's a stereotype. I think that's pretty standard.
this is something that I do disagree with certain parts of the manosphere when they say that soy boys, for example, they make fun of them. But I see plenty of soy boys who can get women.
Oh,
They
they're
make them out of
the
that.
pudgy
Yeah,
guys with the
goofy
belly.
doofies. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Hell by the Dashboard.
No.
with the
I
goofy
think
doofy
it's
crew
pretty
as well.
standard. If Hell by the Dashboard Light would get off the kick with Asians, I would be a little bit easier with him. But he's obsessed with one issue, and that's Asians. But he's right. In general, the oofy doofy seems to be
Yeah,
doing
well,
pretty well with women. I mean, I would say that an oofy doofy probably the girl that he's with would turn me down in a heartbeat way before him. Now, I do have age going against me. I don't doubt that age doesn't help you when you're getting your, but I don't think it's as critical as I make it out to be. I think that the tides have changed. I think the crux of the matter is not that you're older, because you can still look good in your 30s and 40s. I think it's that you fit the mold of what a woman's looking for nowadays, which is, are you weak enough to be with me? Not, are you strong enough to be with me? Are you weak enough to be with me?
Yeah, well, something, say for example, Roosh, okay? You know, I know I'm not really a big fan of him, but I've seen some of his live streams and in the manosphere in general. They'll call it clown world now, because they say it's what used to be good in society has now been inverted. You know, whether you like the gay agenda or whatever, I'm not going into it, but basically they'll go on about how everything's been inverted. Our morals, you know, families used to be good, now they're not. You know, women getting a lot more rights, etc., etc. All our values have turned upside down. And they will say through a lot of the social engineering. But even a woman's nature to want to have children has been, they say, eroded out of them in our society today, which is backed up by women not wanting children. Now, that's a very powerful biological drive. So if you
go ahead,
the point I'm making here is if you can socially engineer that out of them, then why, to certain people, does it seem insane to suggest that the type of men that women now go for has also been socially engineered?
Okay,
so this is why
women
I
are
want to respond to that. The thing is here is the drive for that has not been socially engineered out of them. It's just been pushed back to
It's been a big part of it, though.
No, I know, but it's been pushed back to a later point in time because they're going with the idea of the biological clock doesn't matter, and you can have kids later and later, and all of this science is fixing this.
Because that's not entirely true. Because don't forget, you get the whole campaigns about how much it costs to have a kid, the fact that the world's overpopulated. This propaganda aimed at the West, by the way. They don't do it to Africa, which needs population control for their numbers. It's aimed at the Western countries, and it's that the world's overpopulated, children are too expensive these days. In fact, you're being a good Samaritan if you choose not to have a child. In fact, adopt a kid from Africa. There is definitely an agenda going on here. It runs a lot deeper because there's too much contradiction.
I hear what you're saying, and you are correct, but that's not where I was going with it. What I was saying is all of this is true, and on top of that, it's not that the drive is being taken away, it's being pushed back and supplanted. So these women are being told to be strong, and to be a good woman means to get a career and sacrifice your family at the moment and get a family later and adopt, and all of these things coming together at one time to hurt men, to make them weak on purpose, because men have the power to stop it all, to turn it over if we just take the action to do so.
But there is an increasing number of women who actually don't want children, so it has had an impact. They will say whether they mean it or not. And actually, to be honest, this is besides the point, because like Hellboy Dashboard says with these oofy doofies, it's not that the woman actually finds them physically attractive, but what we're observing is their choices for a mate, their choices for a partner is being changed. Now, maybe in their heart of hearts, they're like, oh, I don't even like the guy. But if she's the one who ends up with him, if these are the guys who are getting into the relationships or whatever, and other men are now being overlooked, is that not a side issue? Because the crux of the matter is, we're looking at what action is actually taking place. Now, you can theorize if completely the biological instinct has gone or not, because it's hard to ask people because they may lie. But what we are seeing, and the important thing is action. What's happening? Women aren't having children, are they? For whatever reason, it's going down dramatically. And what we're also noticing, an increasing number of guys is saying that the type of man, say for example the 90s, when I would say LMS was, it had more of a point, the type of guys they would say, the typical players and that. But what we're seeing now is that strength in a man is very much demonized. And weakness in a man, the weaker guys, the oofy doofies, who guys will think, oh, no way, you'll never get a woman. They're actually having it better than they've had in the foreseeable future that we're going to have, and also in 20, 30 years ago.
So are you advocating that sort of behavior for males?
Well, this depends on well, you can't, the thing is, you can't force it. You can't just, like a light bulb, change your personality. You are who you are.
Well, no, I know, but I'm asking. I'm asking. Are you advocating simping for women to get
I
pussy?
don't believe acting like a dominator, trying to act like they, say for example, the PUA community, the traditional alpha male. I don't think that is advantageous, an advantage in the dating market, like they preach. And in fact, actually showing more weakness can only be a positive thing.
Wow, that's a
you
horrible message to be trying to advocate,
whether
brother.
you want to do that, well, if your objective is to be more popular with women, then it's not
At the cost of yourself.
Well, but that's you're asking me a different question now. You're asking me what your priorities in life.
No, I'm not asking you what your priorities in life are. I'm asking, are you really advocating weakening yourself in the efforts to get pussy? That's the question.
Okay, well, what I was answering was, I was saying if you're getting women, that one personality now is deemed not as appropriate or male behavior, and the other one is advantageous. Now, if you're asking me, should you do that? Should you? Well, it depends how much you want a woman. If you're asking me personally, well, I'm a TFLer, so yeah, I probably should
okay, well, let's take it out of the subjective. Well. If men do this, if men allow themselves to be emasculated, so that they have a chance. Well, it's the idea, right? So if they do that at the chance of getting pussy, isn't that just allowing them to hurt themselves even further and make that a generational issue?
I hate to break it to you, but women have already won the gender war.
No, they haven't. That's just ongoing.
We've long gone past.
They've won the gender war.
We're taking action to turn shit over, man.
No. It's gone too far. I mean, you really think
there is no too far? There's always fire and brimstone.
Yeah. Total collapse of society is really a great option, isn't it?
Women have won the gender war. They absolutely have.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's living on.
They don't give a shit one way or another. They don't care whether or not you like them or not. They have won because they don't need you, but you still biologically desire them. So they have won, in my opinion. I don't care.
The boat's gone far too down the river. I mean, you're talking like a decade or two ago. Maybe something could have been done. I mean, it's not like I'm happy about it, but. Come on, let's be real.
You think that 2 decades ago something could have been done, but Project Mayhem is doing something now.
That's optimistic. I'm not even sure, because the way social engineering works, it takes a long time. The way changes on society is a long time, and the only time you're going to get something like snap happen quickly,
you can't say it takes a long time just because it happens over time.
You're just talking if you really think, you think of all the.
You're saying it's nonsense, yet it's not untrue.
Guys,
do you really think you can turn
living in a
everything that's happened?
POW camp.
Sorry?
I said we're living in a TFL POW camp. We're trying to bust out.
Yeah, I mean, we are straying off topic a bit, but yeah, I mean, it's gone far. Well, I mean, I don't know how.
Well, I don't think we're quite off topic. I think we're just having a debate.
We're not. We're having a debate. Nobody's fighting at this point. But I'm going to just weigh in here. And by the way, Hell by the Dashboard Light is in the chat here. But no, I'm going to stick with it. Women are winning this war. I don't care. We can sit there and pretend that we don't desire them. Now, like I said, Doubt, you may have some options, but I think most guys are of the opinion that we are going to have to be aware. This is the thing that Cyrus told me 10 years ago when I was doing my Roller Steve show interviews. Men in the future are going to have to be aware of what's going on in the dynamics, or they're going to be buried in the dust. I want to get men to understand that it's not about game. It's not about masculinity. It's not about how you tilt your elbow 37 degrees to the left. Women nowadays desire men that they have more control over. That's just the way it is.
Wow, Steve, are you advocating emasculation as a way of population?
I don't advocate it because it's not my nature to behave like that. But I'm going to be realistic. They're a lot happier. I would say that these guys that are in relationships with women are probably less psychologically troubled because they're not living TFL than guys who are. I do. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, though. I can't read their mind. Maybe they're more miserable.
The matter is, you may not like the methods, but you can't deny the the gains that can be made. It's
Okay.
like, for example,
Yeah, they're making
Jim,
gains. They're getting women. They're
it might
getting
not be the
validation.
right, but it's happening. It's
Jim,
you can't
Jim,
deny
are you
it.
a virgin?
No.
Okay, when you lost your virginity, did your whole life change?
It did have a decent effect because at the time in my social circle, I was one of the last to lose my virginity, and it did have an effect on me.
Okay.
So when I lost it, it was like that weight off my shoulder,
So as soon as you had your first time having sex, you realized the sex was the most important thing in the world?
No, because it was actually not a great experience.
Yeah, you know what? Neither was mine.
But
sex is just sex. I wouldn't want men to emasculate themselves just for the chance of maybe possibly having it.
But TFL's not just about sex.
It's not. But why would
So
you
that's
hurt
the
yourself
thing.
just to be with a woman that doesn't deserve you anyways?
Because again, you've shifted the goalpost. You talked about just having sex. See, that's one thing, but
Well,
get
no,
to
I
having
also
a
okay. So what I'm
have a
talking about, the
relationship, and
goalpost
again,
here, the
it's not-
goalpost here is not emasculating yourself, not hurting yourself,
no,
not
'cause
devaluing yourself.
You're
That's the
shifting
goal
it here.
that's the
you're
point that I'm
shifting it, 'cause-
talking about.
No, let's analyze it. First, you were talking about sex when I lost my virginity. Yes, at the time that had
Well,
an
yeah, I'm
impact.
using that as a
Now-
wrapper that encapsulates the attribute of yourself and the value of yourself.
The
That's
bigger
what I'm
issue-
talking about. I'm not
bigger
talking about
issue
sex
for
specifically.
TFLers, it's obviously a lot of us would like relationships, but even this analyze sex, because this is why hookers can't be a solution for most of us.
So what,
Because-
relationships at any cost?
No, let's break down the difference between just having the mechanical act of sex, like you do with. Were you the guy who talked about the sex dolls?
Yes.
Because, like, a sex doll, you're basically doing a glorified wank, shall we say? Masturbation.
Yes, exactly.
But the difference is, and this is why hookers to some guys is the same. There's no emotional commitment. It's just a glorified wank. Just that you're actually getting it with a flesh and bone woman. The problem is that TFS can't just go to hookers and that, because you're not getting the female validation. And this is the key point. It's the female validation, desire of wanting to be with a woman, which is in a natural instinct that men have. Most of male nature comes from that we will instinctively feel better if we are valued by women. And
So
you can't
relationship
there's no
at
way
any
to
cost,
cure that.
then that's what you're advocating. Relationship at any cost.
Well, no, that's a hyperbole statement. Not any cost. What you mean out of death, out of murdering someone? No, we're not saying that.
If you're willing to emasculate yourself, where do you draw the line?
But at what point are you defining emasculation? Because there's different levels. Again, you're very simplifying this. You've got depends at what level.
Well, if you have to be submissive and feminine for a strong, independent woman to possibly be in a relationship with you, I would consider that emasculation.
I would say the first step is what you should do is discard the notion that you should become more alpha, bro. You should become more masculine. You don't necessarily have to be all feminine to the extreme.
I mean, I've literally never said that.
A good idea would be to just simply at least keep it at an even keel, not to become more alpha, more masculine, because I think that's going to do you more harm in the dating market today. So that's the first thing you could do. Whether you want to go and act more feminine than that, yeah, maybe you're not comfortable with that. But as long as you're not portraying yourself very masculine,
so then you are actually advocating emasculation for a chance at a relationship. Hey man, you're welcome to make your own choices, but I think that's a horrible thing to advocate to the community.
By your definition, if you're not a hulking, knuckle-drugging,
I never gave you a definition. You're giving me a straw man here. I never gave you a definition.
Because I said what you can do is to not become more alpha, to become too.
Yeah, but I also never advocated becoming more alpha. I literally never said anything about being alpha.
No, you took that as saying that I was advocating to be very feminine. I'm saying that you are better off to not act too masculine. It doesn't mean you have to go all the way down the other end of the spectrum.
No, but you're using bitch thought language to say, "Oh, don't be too masculine." Oh, it's okay. Don't be too masculine. Just drop those T levels a little bit. Just be a little more feminine. Be more submissive. That's what she likes.
Hey, let me weigh in on here. I think that the fundamental line is that I don't think that MGTOW has failed. I'll tell you why I doubt MGTOW has failed, because it denies the reality. We deny our intentions. All all men in MGTOW secretly desire women, and whether or not you put on the
It's a strongman
strongman narrative,
narrative.
it doesn't change. It doesn't change. It's in our. We're wired. We can fight it. Now, I'm not saying we should degrade ourselves to do it. Apparently, there are some people winning in this game. I mean, that's just. I like what Jim is saying, because, like, it's true that a prostitute cannot, a sex doll cannot validate yourself, because the sex doll is just a mechanical thing, much like a prostitute. They don't really validate your worth, so that's why men
Well,
want
you're
a real
making a
woman.
mistake by letting a woman validate you anyways.
That sounds like typical PUA
I mean, that's
nonsense.
an opinion, but again,
PUA is all about getting pussy. How it could be PUA nonsense? That doesn't even make sense, Steve.
Okay, it's typical standard MGTOW nonsense, where MGTOWs try to put on this strong man, tough guy that, like Big John. Big John put it on, but I think
See,
Jim,
you keep saying Big John, but I'm the one standing here right in front of you, and I'm living this.
yeah.
This isn't me. I'm not
You're
selling
coping,
anything.
Dude. You're coping. That's all it is. That's what
Life
MGTOW
is
It's a
coping.
cope.
Life is pain. You gotta cope with that pain. But I'm not
being
willing to
honest.
hurt myself more at a chance to hurt myself in a different
The
way.
difference between the TFL community and the MGTOW community is honesty. That's what it is. It's
No,
honesty.
really, honesty.
It's honesty, yes.
So your
Because
your
MGTOWs
honesty
portraying a
here,
strongman
your
narrative.
honesty here is that it's okay to demasculate yourself to have a relationship with a bitch that isn't
Again,
even worth
you're
you in the
putting
first
words
place.
into my mouth. You're putting
Okay, well
words
say
into
it
my
say
mouth.
it differently then. If you think
I
that
said
statement is
my
wrong, say
opinion,
it differently.
And also, if we talk about the TFL community,
Ah,
I don't
look, see,
think
now
my
I'm
opinion
telling
is
you,
widespread in the
if you're saying
community.
that I'm
But
saying that wrong,
I
say
did
it differently,
not
and instead
say.
you're going off in some other direction. Why are
Look,
you
if you let me get a
scapegoating?
word in, look, I said.
Well, so
I did
respond
not
to what I'm
say-
saying. If it's wrong, say it
Well,
differently.
if you stop talking, I can.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Right. I did not say at any point you had to totally emasculate yourself.
Oh,
I'm
not
saying
totally, just
that-
somewhat.
I'm saying that the stereotypical from the LMS community and the pickup artistry about being overly alpha, about being more masculine, being more of a dominator guy, those stereotypes, those memes you hear are going to do you more harm in the dating market. And actually, we are seeing a trend of the soy boy types who actually have success with women. So where's all this that we hear in the manosphere of the soy boys? Yeah, they're the virgin guy. They can't get laid. But
Yeah,
all these
a hype,
alpha
yeah.
guys, all these gym cells
Pajita's doing
who
very
can't get a
well, thank
woman.
you.
Well, just so you know, in the MGTOW community, we're not talking shit on soy boys because they're not getting
please.
laid.
I
Hold on,
heard
no,
it a
no, no,
lot.
I
used
didn't
to watch
finish.
a lot of
We're
MGTOW
not talking
content.
shit on soy boys for they're not getting laid.
There
We're
is a
talking
lot
shit
of
on
that.
soy boys
Have
for
you ever watched the
simping
TFM stream?
and being
TFM's
feminine.
one of the
We're
most
talking
popular
shit on
MGTOWs.
soy boys for being weaklings and for
TFM's
giving in to the female desires.
In the
That's what we
MGTOW
talk shit on.
community, TFM has, I think he might have the largest like live streams going, because not many of us do it, and they constantly rail on like the soy boy,
Well, that's
leftist,
TFM though.
liberals,
Yeah, because
all
he's
the
a
time.
plant,
You're in the
and
fantasy
I know
world,
I'm getting
mate.
off on a tangent here, but I think TFM is a plant. I think the way he's running a sophisticated operation, I would not doubt if he's a COINTELPRO, because he's got a lot of subscribers, he's got a very sophisticated operation, and I think that he's deceiving people. I don't think he's authentic, and I think he's a phony, but that's just my opinion. That Bill thinks that too. Bill, great help.
That's pretty much most MGTOWs in a nutshell, though. They've all got their own little narratives, their own little strongman, because it's a way to cope. It's not necessarily wrong, but it doesn't mean it's the truth. Now, that's fine if they want to do that themselves. Go ahead. But a lot of MGTOWs will try and preach that onto other people. And they're normally some of the most vicious people you will see in the manosphere attacking others. Don't forget, they would really downgrade and attack, like, say, incels and TFLers.
Except for the MGTOW that's standing right in front of you calling you brother.
One thing I'll say about the TFL community, one thing. Let me just say this one thing. One thing I'll say good about the TFL community: the people in the TFL community, the ones that don't openly attack each other like the MGTOWs. MGTOW seems to have more division in it. I'm not saying there aren't MGTOW TFL trolls out there, but as a general rule, I think we're all on board with the same idea that it's a tough time to be a man in the dating scene.
For sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, we would all probably agree with that point. I mean, that is pretty universal across the board, I think. But
that's just evidential.
Yeah. This is what we see again in reality. It's just, we will have our disagreements in other areas because,
My whole basis of my argument is I just don't want to see guys hurting themselves for a chance at being with a woman they don't deserve.
I don't think any of us wants to see men being hurt, but I think it's just I just don't think you can brush it off, and I don't think a lot of us can just live with the lie that MGTOW preaches, that you can just forget about needing a woman. You don't need female validation. You can be strong, and the nonsense that, in fact, not that you can live with it, you can actually be stronger and better for it. That is complete nonsense.
Yeah, so MGTOW. Okay, so the straw man thing here is that MGTOW is not saying once you go MGTOW, you never want a woman again. No, that's not the case.
There's a lot of MGTOWs who preach that message. There's a lot of
MGTOWs
who preach that message.
Well, let me ask you a question, Doubt. Why do MGTOWs seem to delete their channels quite regularly? Why do all these people that go to the MGTOW community just they hop on for 3, 4, 6 months, maybe less, and they all delete? I mean, you know, even Hell by the Dashboard Light, he's deleted 95% of his content. He's only got a few videos. Why do people go through this whole stage of doing this all the time?
You would have to ask each individual.
Yeah, I guess you would. I know the answer for it. That they're having a MGTOW nervous breakdown. That the message that they preach is not what they believe. You know. Now, I don't know.
Or there is some MGTOWs I know that will take their channel down as soon as they, you know, actually get a woman. You know, they'll one thing say, "Oh, I'm not looking. I'm not
Oh, really?
interested in a woman."
If that's the case, put them on blast. I want to talk to these MGTOW.
And then,
well, they don't answer. They don't feel obligated. Like what's his name? Barbarossa has just kind of took a hiatus, and he's like, at least keep up and tell people. Nobody knows where this guy is.
Yo, Jim, if you know those MGTOW guys, tell me. I would relate to know.
Didn't he? Wasn't he the one who coined the phrase "every man's one blowjob away from going back to the plantation"?
Yeah, and he's like a fraction of a blowjob away.
And wasn't he the original MGTOW or one of them?
He's one of the original ones in the community.
So that doesn't. And is that confirmed? He actually had a girl. That's why he went away.
It's confirmed. He said it in his video. He's got a girl in his life now.
Yeah,
of course, he's putting on the narrative that he makes her pay for her own dinner and all that. But you know that's all BS, because no woman would put up with that shit from a guy if he was making ultimatums to her.
Yeah.
So Jim, can you bring up those MGTOW names? I would really like to follow up with those brothers and see what their issue is.
Those names? Well, it's not like I know them. But
they're all gone.
How would you even know that, Steve? I'm talking to Jim. Jim says he knows MGTOW.
Okay, you're lining up another word in your mouth moment. Okay, so Steve Hoca said that why are these MGTOWs? Why are they disappearing? You know, Steve Hoca has his theories, and I put out there. Well, it's because I'm theorizing, and I think it is a good.
Oh, so it's a theory. It's not like you actually know specific MGTOW.
Hold on. We have Barbarossa, who's a very
is that the case or not? Is it that you actually know specific MGTOW, or was it an idea?
Look, I'm going to explain if you let me finish.
Well, just answer the question.
Barbarossa, you know, big MGTOWer.
Okay, you're going into a story. Just answer the question, yes or no.
Steve Hoca said it's been confirmed that he went back for it. So what I'm theorizing is that these smaller MGTOWs, because it's smaller channels that would go. Obviously, if they got a woman, they're going to be like, oh crap, shut my channel down because I don't want her seeing that. And that is a very good reason for them to shut the channel down. Because otherwise, what other reasons is it? I mean, because that is an actual legitimate reason where you
that's
can't
just like saying, I don't know
it.
what the other answer could be, so there's no other answer.
So why would they be, what, they just having breakdowns? I mean, I think that's
possibly that's more of an answer than there's no other answer.
I think it's more credible to these MGTOWs that whilst they're deceiving and they're going against what they say, that there's a legitimate concern that shit, I have like a YouTube channel that someone now significant in my life might react badly to it, so I better cover my tracks. I think that's quite reasonable to assume.
Guys, can I cut in real quick?
Go for it.
So, Doubt, basically. What they're trying to say is these MGTOW guys, they come out and say, you don't need a woman, dude, be tough, dude, and then they leave as soon as they get a woman in their life. That's basically what they're saying.
Before that, I don't even think it's just getting a woman in their life. They have a nervous breakdown, MGTOW nervous breakdown even before they get a woman in their life. They can't deal with the fact that the message that they're preaching and all their strongman, tough guy narrative is all BS. I think that most of these guys that jet out of MGTOW are not necessarily getting a woman in their life. They're already they're on the road to insanity. They stop off at the MGTOW diner. They meet up with a few guys that agree with them, but they're back on the road. They're already on the road to insanity. That's what I believe.
Yeah, but based on what? That's just like, I believe this, but based on what evidence?
I theorize it because, okay, I'm going to tell you, it's a little bit of projecting, okay? I believe that
I can see that.
projecting is very realistic of this. That I think that if you're all in the same boat, you can project almost what people are going to do. And I have felt feeling,
Hold
okay,
on.
I have
How
projected.
do you find projecting then? Because
Well,
the way you're using it doesn't
myself
really sound like
projecting.
projecting.
Okay, if a guy accuses another guy of being a MGTOW in denial or a TFLer in denial, he's probably projecting the reality from his own point of view. So what I'm saying is that I feel that my point of view on the issue with why so many guys are leaving MGTOW that start these channels is that they do have a nervous breakdown. But I am a little bit stronger. Now me and Bill Greathouse are more well established in the TFL community over 11 years. So we are thinking twice before we leave. We've got too much invested in this to just jet out. A lot of these guys have nothing invested. They've never shown their face. They've never told, so they don't have anything to lose by jetting out of here.
Okay.
Oh, that's just my whole thing on it.
Okay, so I guess, I mean, I don't want to have a pointless argument, so I'll just ask a question to see if I can clarify.
Okay.
Do you guys hate MGTOW for some reason?
I think it's very disingenuous. I would like to see I'm going to define it the way Bill Greathouse said. MGTOW would have been a great thing if these men really had walked away from women, but they're not walking away from women. They're all going. They're not really doing it. They're okay. There was a guy named Nico Chosky. He was a doctor, and he'd get on these MGTOW, but all he would ever talk about is women and pussy. I mean, so the guy, this a couple years ago, but a lot of these guys would go back in circles talking about women, and they could easily get them, and it was not a problem. Everything was so disingenuous about it. When to me, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the fact that most guys have no options. There would be no PUA if guys had options. I don't know, Jim.
MGTOWers. I don't hate them.
I don't hate them. I just don't think they're being honest.
It's just when you see some, I don't hate them no more than I hate pickup artists. It's just, I'll call out bullshit on both sides. You know, I think pickup artists are, full of it. But I can understand, certain pickup artists making a nice living out of it and selling a lie to desperate men. It's exploitive, but I understand that they're not going to admit that, games are crackers, whatever. But the same with MGTOW. If they're going to, preach, I'm going to be honest, nonsense, strongman narratives, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, what? That ain't right. And I say this as, once, when I suppose you could say when I first got into all this Red Pill Manosphere stuff, it was MGTOW. And I was, more sympathetic. But over time, I started to see the contradictions and I started to question whether, these guys are actually what they say and whether the philosophy holds true. Now, of course, a lot of what they say about female nature, I would agree with. And also certain producers, when they did videos on male nature, I found, it's very true and it's very useful. And I often think that TFM video about the male ego, I often think that's a really good one if you watch it, because you could apply a lot of that to MGTOWs. A lot of MGTOWs have very big egos, and this is why I think a lot of them could identify, even if they were living it, TFL. Why? It's ego. They don't want to admit it, and it's why, I'm not saying this guy here is, but there is many MGTOW who are actually very hostile to TFLers, or any conversations questioning the fact that they can get women. Not all MGTOW, but there is definitely a significant portion, and a lot of this is linked to the ego. They won't admit it.
I can hear what you guys are saying, but I mean, I'm not sure what all of your past experiences are with MGTOW, or your understanding even with MGTOW. But the MGTOW that I subscribe to is not about women at all, either chasing or seclusion from. The MGTOW I subscribe to is about inner strength.
Well, it must be a very fringe part, because I followed MGTOW a lot and followed all of the major channels, all of a lot of different.
Well, it may be fringe because my MGTOW is my own path, so my own path might be different than others.
If it's fringe, then obviously I would not be aware of it. I'm only speaking of the MGTOW that's consumed more by the masses. I watched the old ones like Think.
Are you talking about MGTOW monks?
Some were. I listened to. Oh, what was it? What's it?
Are you
He's not on
aware
it
of
no
the
more.
different levels of MGTOW?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, you got some who are basically your knockdown PUA types. Although some wouldn't even consider them MGTOWs. They're the ones who are the most active, trying to get women still. Then you've got those who are saying, "Oh, I'm giving up and just going MGTOW," and then all the way up until your actual monks. Was it MGTOW Rising? He was a monk, wasn't he? I don't think he's around anymore. I think that's it.
I'm not even familiar with that guy.
Yeah, but you know, I watched all the ones that were popular at the time. You know, obviously, well, you know, Sandman, Thinking Ape, TFM. I think Dark Knight while he was still around. CS MGTOW before he went. A lot of ones, but like I said, I've not watched MGTOW in the last like couple of years. This is obviously about 3-4 years ago because I came to the conclusion that it just I started to see too many contradictions. And whilst I agreed with, obviously I agreed a decent amount of what MGTOW said, I wouldn't have considered myself one at one time. But I just had to be honest with myself. I had to look in the mirror and go, yeah, I'm putting on a strongman narrative here saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm MGTOW, bro, you know, don't need women and this and that. But the reality is you can't escape your biology and you can't escape human nature. And it is just a coping mechanism, a strongman narrative.
Okay, so you keep saying coping mechanism as if anything is not a coping mechanism. In life, everything is a coping mechanism.
True,
so it's just a choice.
But a lot of them in the MGTOW community won't portray it because they'll portray it as coping. Oh, that's weak. No, I don't. I'm not coping. You know, not needing a woman. I just literally don't need them. In fact, I'm better for it. Now, you know, people can do that, but I think what the problem we have is obviously if someone's saying the Earth's flat, and you know they may be perfectly happy for it. In fact, it may be helping their life, but doesn't mean that people aren't going to call you out and then go, hold on, sorry mate, you're chatting bullshit. You know, this ain't it. I disagree.
Okay, so what have I said that you would say is dishonesty?
Dishonesty?
Yeah, do you think I've said anything that was a lie?
Words in my mouth a lot. What I was saying earlier.
No. I'm asking. Do you think I've said anything that was a lie?
You'd have to specify because.
Well, no, not really. It's. Do you have anything that sticks out in your mind that when I said it, you're like, oh, he's straight up lying?
Well, I think when you did you properly defend, because obviously I'm talking about MGTOWs in general. I'm not so familiar with you, and I don't. You said that you have a different theory on MGTOWs than the mainstream MGTOWs that are known by most people. So again, you are going to have to specify it a bit because when I was going into my, you know, because you were asking me what's my problems with MGTOWs and that, I'm talking what most people are familiar with when you think of MGTOWs, when you watch MGTOWs, like I did a lot, with, you know, with respect, you know, obviously content producers that have produced a lot more well-known content.
Okay,
so I could easily refer to like as you know to a certain viewpoint from what most people know of MGTOW, but I'm not familiar with because you say your beliefs are slightly different.
Correct. So I am the progenitor of the Project Mayhem movement. This movement is the foundation of this movement is MGTOW in the sense that I woke up to the fact that I can just choose the path of my life, and while I'm alive, I can enjoy the freedom of assigning myself the value of myself and my life. When I interact with women, regardless of who it is, it could even be family, I don't play their games. I don't play the bullshit. I represent myself accurately and confidently and strongly, regardless of if they would see it as negative or positive. And I don't let the fact that I would like to be able to find a woman that I think deserves me. I would like a relationship like that. I'm not confident that I will ever find that woman. I need a woman to be submissive and caring and a good mother. And those traits are hard to find all in one place. So I'm allowing myself to say, you know what? I don't need to stress out about it. I can get the poison out every once in a while, and that'll make me as happy.
Okay, Dowd, I have a question for you, and I want an honest answer. When did you discover the name MGTOW? How long have you known about MGTOW?
I've known about MGTOW probably 3 or 4 months.
Okay, 3 or 4 months.
So
that's
means,
a very good. Okay, You just
I
found
know
out
more
about
about
MGTOW
MGTOW
3 or
than
4
No,
months.
hold on, wait. So, yes, I just found out about the label and accepted
Okay, you
it
found out about
after
it.
chewing
It's
on it
like
for
a
a while.
person.
But
Okay,
I've been living as MGTOW since I was 12.
we have been following the MGTOW movement for 7 years since the name came mainstream about January of
You'll grow out of
2012.
it. You'll grow out of it. Trust me.
And trust me,
I'll
you'll
grow
grow
out
out
of
of it.
it.
You'll jettison the project. You won't be here in a year. I doubt it. I really don't think you will. I
Because
think
Okay.
3-4 months is nothing. Like I say, I would consider myself a MGTOW for 2 years, and that was enough for me. And you know, others take longer before they realise and wake up to the nonsense it is. With respect, but 3-4 months is a very short time. I mean, it's not long.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
So
doesn't
that's
give
why,
him time to see the riffraff that's gone on in the last 7, 8 years.
4 months in it, I would have been sitting in the MGTOW horn, you know, defending it from the hill. Especially because that was my first. I had I had a nasty breakup, which completely shattered me at the time. And this was about 5 years ago. And then I was lost for a while because I was really blue pilled, didn't have any red pill knowledge, not even pick up issue anything. MGTOW was the first one I went into that helped me at the time because it explained the differences between men and women, how they love, etc. Blah blah blah.
See, you say I'll grow out of it. I'm pretty sure I won't give up on it. I'm pretty sure I won't give up on
give up on
myself.
the movement, yes, you will.
I felt the same with probably for up to a year.
Well,
year and a
maybe
half,
you and I are
then
different people. Maybe I have
Yeah,
a different willpower than you do.
maybe you won't. But like I say, there's still people who believe that the world's flat, and you can't convince.
Yeah, but you're talking about something that's scientifically provable versus something that you just disagree
right,
with
on a
me
lot of
with.
pseudoscience. You're going down that road. Because it's not all like, that's very sketchy.
To me, you know what MGTOW is? MGTOW is like a group of people that discover Amway or Herbalife. They think it's the next best thing since sliced bread, but the people who are veterans and have seen the bullshit know the game. They've seen all the multi-level marketing scams.
See, you guys, you're coming from the same collective point, which is fine. I mean, you guys have a community here. That's great.
But just because
you're only coming from the point there.
Like,
MGTOW failed because guys still want pussy. Newsflash: men want pussy.
Yeah, but they don't admit the MGTOWs. They play this tough guy
Except
like
for
this.
both myself and Mike the MGTOW Mark when he was on, even saying that if we could find a woman worthy of us, we would love to.
It's the
we just
ego,
haven't.
because at the end of the day, MGTOWs like to portray themselves better as other men, which is why they'll degrade.
No. See, you're saying that, but I never have. In fact, the opposite. Every chance I get, I try to uplift other men. Even Dusty here, I'm not putting this brother down. I'm talking to him, trying to elevate him. So again, you're wrong on that point too.
Yeah, well, okay, Dow. Let's say, for example, you are the model MGTOW. You are the perfect MGTOW. Guess what? Like you say, you're one guy. Unfortunately, the majority of MGTOWs, and I will use MGTOW as an example because the unicorn women, MGTOWs go, oh, there's no point. Even if there is one woman that's good, doesn't matter because the majority of women are bad. Therefore, by odds, you're looking for a needle in a haystack. It ain't worth it. So
yeah, but so what you're saying is, when you do see that paragon, when you do see that good role model, oh, you know what? Let me not follow that good role model because the current's going the opposite direction. You don't see the futility of your argument?
By your own logic, then MGTOWs should be trying to apply that to the odd women, but they don't because they know statistically in their mind they're saying, well, there's too many bad apples, so that's MGTOW's logic.
But well, actually, see, the thing is, in Project Mayhem, when we are fighting back, we have to be able to allow the enemy to surrender. So we don't want women to be the enemy. We just want them to submit.
Well, again, I'm not familiar with your Project Mayhem because it's just a rip-off from Fight Club.
Well, you're wrong. You're not. How are you going to say you're not familiar with it and then say it's just a rip-off of something else? That's a logical contradiction wrapped up in itself.
I heard some of the last live stream, but I'm not going to say obviously I'm not knowledgeable on it because
you just literally said you're not really aware of it, and
I'm not aware of it. But what I did hear was nonsense. What I did hear was pure nonsense. I'm sorry, it was.
Okay.
I mean, it was funny to listen to, but it was crazy, and it's gonna. And if you did do something like that, how the hell you're just gonna get labeled a terrorist organization or whatever quickly. If you actually,
probably.
Yeah, and that's not gonna help, is it? That's just crazy talk.
Well, I'm willing to die a free man.
Because something like that would then mean even talks like this, the censorship would be even harder. So it's going to put men backwards because we wouldn't even be able to discuss
let's submit. Let's go more feminine. Let's be less masculine so that we don't get in trouble with our superior women.
No, but you have to be smart about it. You can't be,
No.
because you're gonna just
You say
you're
it's
gonna.
smart
It's
just
like
because
putting
it's
gasoline on a
the
fire.
narrative you agree with.
It's like putting
It doesn't
gasoline on
make
a
it
fire. You're gonna
smart.
make
It
it
just
worse.
makes you sycophantic.
You're gonna make it worse if you seriously think that the way you're going about it is, oh yeah, let's do something which could be branded a terrorist organization, and you don't think there'll be consequences for that. I mean, it's just nonsense.
Other kid on the playground, don't step out of line because then we'll all get in trouble and it'll be harder tomorrow, even though our oppressors are hurting us today.
Yeah, but there is appropriate action at times, but what you're advocating for seems to be way over the top. Like, come on,
Well, that's
there's
because
different
you are.
degrees.
I
It just
mean,
seems.
I want to refrain from ad hominem, but you are inclined to follow this demasculation, and I'm not. I'm opposed to it.
Just
So
because you don't want to
there
be a
is the direct
sacrificial
negation
lamb,
right there.
just because you don't want to be a sacrificial lamb, which isn't going to change anything, and it's actually going to bring more harm on men, because you're going to make the powers to be come down harder on the manosphere. It's
so
nonsense.
because I'm determined to be a strong man, that gives them the right to come down harder?
You're just giving them rope. That's what it is. You're giving ammunition for them to fire.
No, brother. You are giving the rope.
What you're setting out to achieve.
The shit that you're doing right now, the words that you're saying is giving the rope.
Your movement, if it ever, which I doubt it would, if it ever gained traction, would have the opposite effect of what you are intending to do. It would be the worst thing that could happen. It's.
Really?
I can't just say how bad an idea it is.
Look, man, I don't know you, but I mean, honestly, I don't want to put you down.
I mean, you made it yourself.
Seem very weak
what you're
of character.
advocating for would be considered a terrorist organization. I'm sorry, I have to question either
your sanity
I
don't care,
or you're
though.
just
I don't
being
care.
a troll.
I don't care if it
to
would
me,
be
it sounds like you're
considered
trolling.
whatever.
You're just wanting attention, so you're throwing out some really wacky idea to separate you from other
It's
mixouts.
wacky.
It's
wacky.
Your name
to
out
want
there,
to
get your
fight
name
back,
out there.
do something about it, to take action.
Cool.
That's so wacky. Look, man. Look, we're obviously not going to agree on whatever the hell you want to talk about. You're very secluded to your narrative. So I mean, I don't see much anything coming out of that.
I'm just calling out bullshit when I see it. Simple as, man. I'm just being honest about it. Which
call
is
out one thing I said that's incorrect.
So what am I missing, guys? What is Doubt? What is your plan? Like, what is he talking about?
Well, it's to become a terrorist organization. Somehow that's going to help.
Oh wow! Look at you, you fucking feminist mouth! You're calling me a terrorist organization.
You literally agreed.
And you
agreed.
Just said you don't even know what it is, and now you're willing to call it a terrorist organization. What a fucking fempath, you bitch brain motherfucker!
Considered a terrorist organization.
God
and you
damn!
Said yes. You said yes. You agreed.
I said I don't care what they want to call it, but now you're the one calling it. You fucking crazy, man.
Face facts. Are you smart at all? It will be.
Are you smart at all? Oh, now you're gonna use shaming language. Fucking bitch brain, man.
Be specific.
You're just talking nonsense.
Doubt. What is your plan? Like, what is he talking about?
Okay, so the whole idea behind Project Mayhem is just to get men to wake up and start taking action out in reality instead of staying on the message boards, instead of just staying on live streams. Build communities out in real life. Take the male spaces back to reality. Go take back our society.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Steve's talking about having meetups and so on, you know.
Exactly, and that's why I said I offered Steve to come to the Project Mayhem because we're on the same tip. We're dealing with the same problems. We're dealing with the same fucking fucked up women in society. We don't have to be adversaries. We can collectivize just like the enemy did and get something accomplished.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see how that's an issue. I don't see how that's scary or threatening at all.
Me either.
Well, it wasn't how it came across in the last talk. And you admit yourself that some of the actions would come across that way. I'm just saying there's going to be obviously serious implications. And
any movement of men trying to gain back power could be labeled anything they want to.
Look, for example, at the alt-right. Now, they don't advocate for any sort of...
Okay, well, define alt-right.
Well, no. Come on.
No, yeah. If you're going to say alt-right, define alt-right.
The alt-right themselves can't even...
No. Define alt-right.
I'm not alt-right, so why are you asking me?
The fuck? Because you're the one bringing it up.
I'm giving an example. Okay, I'll
That's
give
like
it.
I'm gonna say.
All right,
Okay, let's talk about box
Okay,
DC
if you're gonna
312.
just be like that, okay, I'll give it a Richard
What,
Spencer.
wanting to know
for
what the fuck
example.
you're talking
Richard
about?
Spencer. What I'm saying is, if you try to get a group together which goes against the current agenda that the people in charge want to push, look how quick it gets shut down. And these
So
people
don't do
aren't
it?
even advocating violence. They're so careful not to do it.
So don't
and
do
what
it.
you
That's what you're
advocate
saying, right?
for, and you have this
Fucking
blasé attitude
whack,
that I don't
dude.
care
That's straight
if it
up
gets
weak.
considered a terrorist organization.
Don't provide
you
resistance
don't think
because
that
the
it's gonna
people at
get
the
shut
top won't
down?
like it.
You're living
Whatever,
in
dude.
cloud cuckoo land, my friend. You are
Yeah,
living.
I'm cuckoo because I'm willing to
So,
be the resistance. That's right.
I hope you can get enough gullible idiots to start this up, because it is going to be hilarious.
Anyone who's willing to take action is a gullible
If
idiot.
you gain
Dude,
any traction,
you
they're
have
going to
problems.
shut you
If
down
you ever wonder
quicker
why you're
than you can
TFL,
start
it's
your
thinking
live
like
stream up.
this.
I mean, really, I'm sorry. That's all I can say about it. And
Well, you shouldn't be sorry. Instead, you should go fucking meditate or something, dude. I don't know what your issue is, but I mean, the fact that you're even willing to say shit like this, you're willing to call Project Mayhem a terrorist organization. You're willing to call anyone who's willing to provide resistance to the dominant narrative as gullible idiots.
It's
Brother,
like
if you ever wondered why you're TFL, you really shouldn't wonder.
If someone says something you don't like, it's funny how you quickly twist the word, because once again, I started off by saying what you were advocating for could be considered and labelled as a terrorist organization.
No. And then you said
responded
it was.
straight away as I don't care. It could be brand terrorist organization. And I said, okay, well, if it is, these are going to be the consequences. Blah, blah, blah. And you didn't like it.
Oh, my God, dude. No, you're
and
wrong.
Like
you're over here trying to change shit
you
now.
didn't like it. I mean, sorry. It's your decision. Go ahead and do that. But I'm telling you,
look,
you're stupid if you do.
Jim, I don't want to, again, I don't want to tear you down, but I really, I don't think that you and I are going to have much of a conversation.
Well, no, because you always twist. You're not arguing in good faith. A lot of time you will twist.
What the fuck is good faith in your opinion?
Well, you were the one who said you wanted a decent conversation. You didn't want an
argument.
Yeah,
but that's not what I've gotten.
But you've been constantly when I say something you don't like, it's a constant twist of whatever I say. Try to put.
Oh no,
words
I'm
in
the
my
one
mouth.
twisting. Fuck this.
You are. It's very funny because you were going on about actually trying to slander.
Jim, are you a content creator?
When you're actually very passive aggressive.
Jim, are you a content creator?
You are very passive aggressive.
No. Okay.
Your tactics all the time. Very passive aggressive.
Really? I don't think I'm being very passive aggressive.
Right.
I'm being up in your face,
right.
dude.
So okay. Like I say, obviously we don't see eye to
I'm
eye.
I'm not over here fucking using bitch brain and trying to shame you or make you feel bad or talk down to you. I'm giving you straight up exactly what I'm saying.
And I'm calling you out in the bullshit. That's all I'm doing. If you don't
but what
it's okay.
bullshit?
But what you shouldn't do is try to.
What am I
twist
lying
it
about?
and
What's
to act in a very
inaccurate? What is the bullshit?
way.
You can't just
'Cause
call
that's
me a
what you're
bullshitter and act
That's
like
what
it's
you're doing.
validation.
But anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go. Cool.
No, I'm just saying. Look.
No, you're not. You're really not saying though. You're spewing.
I'm saying you weren't
No,
arguing.
you're not.
Faith, but I don't want this just to be a pure argument. We're not getting any facts now.
That's right.
So, Dal, I don't know what the miscommunication is, but I totally understand what you're talking about.
Okay, Dusty.
Yeah.
When Jim says that, dudes that are willing to take action, dudes that are willing to take resistance are gullible and dumb, do you agree?
No, but I think he was, I don't know, I think there's some kind of misunderstanding. Like, I think what I'm getting from you is guys need to just start being guys again. That doesn't involve any violence or any law breaking. You know what I mean? Like you talked about taking back male spaces, like not being afraid to act like guys and be men. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I don't see the problem.
Yeah, but the issue I was referring to, again, I didn't watch all the last, but you, it must have been something, because I remember hearing you.
There must have been something. Come on, bro, that's not an argument.
Look, again, you just can't keep quiet, can you? Look.
Well, because it's not an argument. You can't base an argument on a non-argument.
Talking over me and shouting over me so I can't get my point across does not mean you're going to stop me talking, okay?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I am. Because you're not saying anything.
So you are arguing in good faith when you're not even letting me speak.
Sure. You know what? Good faith is out the window. Jim, there's no conversation between you and I.
People in the chat,
this is not a conversation. That's correct.
You will not let me talk, will he?
If you're willing to talk over me, I'm willing to talk over you, and I guess that'll just be what happens.
If you're not going to let me speak,
Well, if it's not going to be a
And I think
conversation,
that
then what's
sums it
the
up,
value
don't
in
it?
it,
If you're
brother?
not willing to let me speak,
Oh, that
this
sums me
it
up. Dude, such bitch brain. You're over here trying to put me down. That sums up, doesn't it?
And didn't you say
Really
you weren't going to
shaming
use ad
language.
hominems?
Fucking retarded, dude.
Oh, you said you weren't going to use ad hominems, and here you are throwing your toys out the pram now.
Is retarded an ad hominem?
Bitch brain? Can you even remember? Can you even remember what you said 5 seconds ago? Because
Yeah, you know what bitch? Do you know what bitch brain means? No.
I'm not
okay, good.
stooping to
So
your level.
a bitch brain is emotional
You said you weren't
thought.
going to use ad
You're over here
hominems,
trying to use emotional thought
and you're
to
not
shame
letting
me
me
into shutting
answer.
up.
You're not even letting me talk.
You're right. I'm not.
You're not even letting me
That's
talk.
correct.
So for me,
Like I said, there's no
shows-
conversation to
for
be
me,
had
that
between
shows
you
that
and I.
obviously
This
what
is
I
not
said-
a conversation
What
anymore.
I said is obviously
You're just over here
touched a
calling
nerve.
guys gullible
What I
idiots
said
for
has
trying to
touched
be
a
a
nerve.
resistance to the bullshit that's keeping them down, and I'm just not having it.
What I said is obviously
there's
nerve
literally no
because you
point
are
nor
very triggered
value
now.
from the
You are
things you're
very
trying to
triggered,
say.
my friend.
I don't know what triggered is, but whatever it is you're saying, I don't
Well,
like
I think we're all witnessing it here because
That's fine.
I mean,
So
I
again,
don't
look
know
at the
where
language
Steve's
you're
gone,
using. You're the one using
I don't
the
know where
language
Steve's
triggered. You're the one using shaming language.
Okay,
What camp are you
upset,
from, man? Are you a feminist?
upset.
You're a feminist, huh?
I mean, the fact that you're even saying that's laughable.
Well, you're the one talking about triggering. You're the one talking about you're the one using shaming language. You're the one calling guys that are willing to stand up to be gullible idiots.
I don't need to talk.
So yeah,
You're giving us great content right here.
That's
Just carry
fine.
on.
Whatever you think,
carry
bro.
On. Just carry on.
Yep.
I mean, this
Dive
is the
on.
prime reason
Dive
why
on,
we
brother.
believe that
That is
MGTOWs.
right.
You know, you're having a MGTOW breakdown right now.
I'm having a MGTOW breakdown. I'm having a MGTOW break dance on your ass. I'm having a MGTOW breakdown.
Great. I don't know. Just keep them coming. This is funny. Just keep them coming, my friend.
Right.
So much for arguing in good faith, eh? But we all know that MGTOWs are full of shit.
Yeah. Sure.
Which is why I'm not surprised that you.
Okay, let me get in here. I've been getting some accusations that I'm not moderating this good. It seems like we're just throwing invectives back at each other. I personally have been around MGTOW for a good portion of 8 years, and I've seen nothing but the dissolution of it. It's very hard to jump into MGTOW for 4 months and be able to ascertain what's really going on.
What do you mean? Ascertain what's really going on with what?
With the entire MGTOW community.
I don't need to know the entire MGTOW community. I know the guys that I'm talking to. I know my community, and I know what MGTOW I'm living.
How can you call it your community when you just entered it?
Because it's the guys I associate myself with. It's the guys I talk to, sometimes on a daily basis.
Right. I think that TFL is the crux of why most guys go MGTOW. What do you about you, Jim? Do you think that's the crux of why that happened? Do you think, Jim, do you think most MGTOWs are just TFLers in denial?
Yes, and I think that the difference why, because like for example, I was obviously a MGTOW, but then I came to realize that actually no, I'm actually a TFLer. And I think the difference for a lot of men is now, okay, there may be a small minority who are actually MGTOWs, right? And, you know, they're legit. But it is going to be a small minority, the majority we're talking about here. And I think the difference is why some will stay in the MGTOW, you could call it echo chamber if it's not big enough, will be ego. I think that's the difference. I think because it does take a lot to admit weakness. Why? Because it's in the male instinct not to admit weakness, especially to other men. So that's why a lot of MGTOWs are very hostile and will become very agitated, like we've witnessed tonight, when you start to question the narrative that they have constructed for themselves in order to make them feel better about their situation in life. I mean, you can hear that laugh now. It doesn't sound healthy, does it?
No, I'm still sick.
So, I mean, let me ask you, Mayhem, we talked about this before. You realize that in order to get out there and do your so-called plan, you are going to have to ultimately show your face out there and say, my name is Joe Schmuckenhauser, and this is who I am. You can't do this in a virtual world. You have to ultimately be out there. And me and Bill have put our faces out there.
That's the whole point
you
of Project Mayhem.
You have nothing invested in your Project Mayhem other than your anonymity, which is 95% of the people in here.
Okay, so what's your point?
My point is, at some point, people are going to have to take you for real. They want to know who this guy is. This guy named Doubt, this MGTOW doubter, and you want to go out there, and you're going to have to ultimately be out there. Who knows who you are? You could be a plant for all we know.
Well, it doesn't matter who I am when it's the ideals that I'm talking about.
Yeah, but those ideals, that doesn't tell me whether you're sincere about them.
Well, yeah, nothing would. And seeing my face wouldn't tell you that I'm so sincere.
I think it will. It would not in the beginning, no, because you'd have to. I guess people know I'm sincere about TFL. I want to see this.
Why? Because you've been in it so long.
Because I believe
that
you've
been in it so long.
I believe
what
that
change have you affected?
I believe. Well, Bill and I have affected quite a bit because we've made awareness of something. I don't even think that term.
No. What change have you affected?
Quite a bit. We've made awareness. I have a theory.
No, you see, again, you said awareness. What change?
Oh, not change. I don't think we can change it yet. I don't claim we can change it right away.
Well, then what does it matter what time you've been doing it if literally you've done nothing to change it?
You do realize that there's
why?
A lot of
because guys are because these are going to be the true. These are going to be the true. The TFLers are going to be the true MGTOWs. They are going to be the guys that live by.
They're going to be the MGTOWs that demasculate themselves for relationships. That's not MGTOW.
That's your version on things. We've already gone through this. If I have to keep,
man.
then of course
yeah,
you wouldn't let me talk.
Nope.
So, I mean, that's just your thrown out nonsense again.
Yep,
because
exactly.
That's not what I said, was it?
Right.
And also, you saying that just because Steve's raising awareness that he's doing nothing. Well, a lot of MGTOWs would say.
I did not say raising awareness was nothing.
No, you said that.
I am saying.
Trying to criticize
what does time matter if with all that time you're not making a change?
If you let me speak, you were criticizing.
Well, no,
him
I'm not really interested in letting you speak.
Why? Because you were constructing a bad argument. You were saying...
No, because you don't know how to make an argument.
You were criticizing
I asked you for specific details, and you go out of it.
Steve,
you just give emotional answers, or emotional thoughts, and shaming language. That's what's in your toolkit.
Raising awareness was not enacting change. Yet a lot of MGTOW producers would say that they're not looking to change society, they're just looking to create awareness to men.
Again, you're talking about most
criticism towards
but
Steve
you're not
could
willing
be applied to a lot of
exactly
the MGTOW
what
community.
I'm saying. You're saying MGTOW from a blanket perspective.
Could apply to the vast majority of the MGTOW community.
Hey man, it doesn't even make any sense.
I'm just pointing out that you're spewing more bullshit, and you're not arguing in good faith. Because you're trying to catch
you keep saying arguing in good faith. What does that even mean to you? What does arguing in good faith mean to you?
It means you're not just trying to twist someone
up.
No.
So you can't say arguing in good faith means that you're not. What does arguing in good faith mean? Define it.
It means you're actually having a debate to get to the point of the issue, not just coming in with a perceived notion and then using underhand tactics, a lot of passive aggression. Well, I mean, you're
first of all, I'm not being passive aggressive. Secondly, you're the one not using evidence. You're not even attacking what I'm saying. You're using blanket statements. You're using straw man. You're talking about most MGTOW when you've already acknowledged that I'm not most MGTOW. Dude, you're not making any sense.
And that's all you have. All you have is you're trying to undermine what the person is trying to say. Because... And now he muted me.
That's right.
He muted me. See, another underhanded tactic. We're seeing all these little tactics.
Look, I'm not interested in having a debate with you. You are not a debater.
Do you notice
You're
the
just fucking
who claims to be your brother?
I'm not interested.
Who claims to be your friend?
That's nice. Look, I'm not your friend, Jim. You're over here talking about demasculating men for relationships. Brother, I disagree with you. No, like, look, you are. You're wasting my time.
When you were all friendly to other men, I know that truly you're not like that. I know you're waiting to put the knife in the back. I know really what sort of man you're going to be.
Well, you know what, man? You have a sorry life, and I'm sorry for you. But you're wasting, like, look, you're telling these guys to demasculate themselves for relationships. Dude, I don't know how old you are. I don't know your story.
But that is not what I said, and I explained that to you earlier. And I'm not going to
actually, you didn't.
All you do is shout
because when I
pointed
it out, you just use shaming language. You use bitch-bang tactics. You use emotional thinking. You didn't actually explain shit.
Steve, this guy's just going around in circles now.
No,
He's just
I
going
already
around in
told you we're not
circles,
having a
I
productive
don't think
conversation.
the content of this conversation is going
Yep,
downhill
I've already
because he's
clarified
dragging it down. You know, if you're gonna just talking points, okay, but let people speak. Don't shout
Jim,
over.
you and I are not going to have a productive conversation.
Well, I'm in this
Okay,
conversation.
Dowd, I want to be polite about this. I want to get this thing going with some people, so we need to resume this another time. I want to kind of throw my words
sure.
at. Okay, I'll jet you out of here, but we'll do it again. Thanks. Okay, you there, Jim?
Yeah, he muted me.
Jim, listen, Jim. I like to be I don't like to be one of these bullies that just kicks people out of my chat. I could see it was going nowhere at some point.
That's fine.
But the point of the matter is I agree with you that the TFL's at the crux of this shit. When you come into the MGTOW community for 4 months, you can't make an assessment of it because I've been following this shit. I've watched it full circle. I know what MGTOWs are. The majority of these people, it's like a get-rich-quick scheme. You join it thinking you just discovered something great, but what winds up happening is there's another group of suckers. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It seems like MGTOW creates another group of suckers. Every couple months, a new cadre of MGTOWs join. It's so crazy, and then they all delete their channels.
It's the same with for example, the pickup artistry. You know, PUA community.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, not as bad. In there.
There's a lot more MGTOWs than there are pickup artists.
The point I'm making is that a lot of guys will be suckered into that for a while, but then they realize it's a crock-off and get out of it. And I think MGTOW, because there's, a lot of guys will wake up to the fact that it's the same thing. It's nonsense in the end. It's not the truth.
No. It's dealing with the fact that most of these men secretly desire to have a woman. And that's just a fact, Jack.
Yeah, and that's why when you bring up these issues, they will become very hostile. I mean, we saw it a bit there. I mean, I didn't expect it to go that way, but he just made it impossible to talk with. I mean, to the point where he muted me.
Well, like I said, I felt like it was, you know what it was like? It was like watching a Jerry Springer show.
Yeah, I know. It's just I couldn't.
I think what is going to happen, whether we agree with TFL or not, this stuff is already going mainstream. Fox News is reporting 35% of men between 18 to 30 are celibate. I mean, what do we see? Now it's finally hitting the mainstream. They can't put a lid on this anymore. I thought I was crazy. I did a video back in 2008 called 1 in 10 Men Will Not Find a Woman. It's more like 3.5 to 4 of 10 men won't find a woman. It's getting huge.
Yeah, and don't forget also, again, because men won't like to admit it, those estimates could be on the low side. Because a lot of men...
I think it's on the low side. I don't think most men are going to... I don't know how they would get statistical data like that. I just observed the way women behave today. They're not interested in men, and I think this goes back to what Alex Dashboard said, is that women simply are just not...
I watched Dashboard, and I do agree with a lot of his theories.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember earlier I was asking you a question? We were talking about dating limbo, and I asked you, why do you think a lot of women aren't interested in men? And you didn't answer the question because you got sidetracked by something else. So why do you think that is? What do you think's driving women not to be interested in guys?
Oh, I think it could be the SSRIs. It's the cell phones. It's the birth control. Anything that could mess around with their biological chemistry. Their egos are huge. All I can say is women are much more in control of their emotions than men are by far. I wish that they had made this situation where men and women both were not equally interested in each other, but it doesn't seem to be the case. One group is suffering more than the other. I mean, the woman has all the pick and choice, and the men are just sitting there holding their gonads in their hands.
Yeah, I think women have more of a support system too. Like, people value women more. Like, they have more friends and stuff.
Well, that's what women's nature. Women will develop those social skills, look for groups. Men are normally more solitary. We're not necessarily as good at that. So, when you're looking at society the way it is, and then you look at the nature of women, will always seek to be more popular in groups and have friends, and that's only being promoted more in the current day we live in. Men are facing such isolation and demonization in all different levels. It's it's you kind of think, well, it makes sense, obviously, that it's going to end this way, and I think it's only going to get worse. I'm very pessimistic. I don't even believe that that it's just going to level off. I think it will get worse. I think it's going to be to the point where we look at it now, and in 5-10 years, we're like, ooh, some guys are actually going to say those were the good days.
We got people like Alex Dashboard saying, oh, the mid-2000s were the good old days. Are you friggin' kidding me? This TFL thing's been going on for 18 years. I mean,
well, Steve, if I can explain, for example, I wasn't TFL back then, and I actually can agree, because I'm similar age to Dashboard, and I would actually say, compared to what it is now, when I've actually now TFL, and it has degraded a lot, the dating market. You could argue the bar's been raised. You know, the point is more men are now becoming TFL. More men.
Oh yeah, because in 2005 I could still go on like Yahoo Personals. You'd have to hit a lot of women out there. You'd have to pay the $99 yearly subscription, but you could probably get a date for that weekend. Yeah, I agree. You have to. Getting a date now is nearly impossible.
Yeah, I mean, because back then it was kind of this. I mean, like I say, the smartphone was a big game changer, and social media and dating apps when it was in its infancy, and it was even still a bit. I can remember, like, I would actually get dates off them, and actually some girls, they still had a bit of a stigma about it, and it wasn't accepted so much mainstream, and that was to its benefit. But once it became mainstream, and it just really did screw things up. It made things a lot worse. Obviously, this is only one issue. It's a big spectrum, which you guys obviously talk about a lot. But definitely, from the mid 2000s, it was better.
And I've noticed something else in like adult video now. And of course, everybody's looked at porn, so I'm not going to say everybody's not guilty of this. I've noticed one thing, that pornography does not involve kissing and French kissing and making out anymore. It's all just really disgusting. It's just all straight sex. Like, part of, I think, the reason why women don't like to kiss and be romantic anymore is because kissing means submission. Holding hands means submission. None of that can go anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously it's, well, you know, the porn, you know, people have different, obviously, theories for why, you know, it's harmful to society and men, whether you agree with that or not, if you're, you know, but it definitely seems to all be connected, and it's having an effect. We can't deny that, really, and it's not a good effect for men.
So, in England, you're saying the bar scene is the same as it would be in the United States, where men and women are both real segregated?
Obviously, I can only go on what I've heard people report from the US, but I experienced similar thing. You know, it's very hard to get anywhere, and there's a lot of men who are just living TFL, you know, incel, however you want to describe it, and people aren't generally hooking up as much in the bar scene, in the clubs. So that goes along the notions that women just aren't interested. One observation I did want to note is actually when I'm out in the bars and that, what I see now, I don't, you know, I do see, like I said, the soy boys, if you do for you guys, I will see them get women, and yeah, there may be some guy who is more after, you know, but what I did notice is that looks. I called it like there's definitely looks match, at least when it comes to the bars and the clubs. You know, I did notice that the couples I saw, they were very, you could say, correlated with age. It was quite a close age.
Yeah,
thing.
it's always age. Yeah. That's kind of a pet peeve a lot of people have, is that you don't see a 40-year-old guy with a 25-year-old woman.
No, I mainly saw guys who were obviously, you know, sort of maybe quite young, like 18, 19, or you see guys early to mid-20s, and you can tell that they, at least they looked, you don't know for sure, but they looked like they were within 2-3 year gap. I'm not seeing, again, what, you know, a lot of this manosphere promotes. I'm not seeing guys in their 30s and 40s getting with 20, 18-year-olds.
Well, yeah, in fact, I'm seeing, but I think that it's even worse than that. I think most guys would settle with someone their age if they could, but I don't think that option is even available.
No, because I think, like I say, just women's interest has dropped in dating and actually wanting men. Now you can argue it's because women don't need men financially, or it's just because they've lost the sexual desire for men. But either way, the reality is, yeah, there's a definite lack of interest towards the majority of men. And everyone's got to have their own theory, I guess, or reason why. And it could be just a combination of the various different factors. But it, like I say, what you experience in the US definitely is very similar in the UK and somewhere like London, which is, you know, a major city. I think you experience similar problems.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Speaking of this whole thing about TFL, my suggestion of trying to do maybe like TFL coaching or counseling, what do you think that would do? You think that might help people get a little bit out of the closet and maybe start talking about the subject more? Because what I have here is 50 people in the chat, and only I had to pull, you know, I only got a couple people that want to get in here ever at any given time. So I think that could be a start.
Yeah, I think it can obviously have a positive influence on someone. It will depend. How much depends on the individual. It depends what their mental state is, how much being TFL is affecting them in their personal lives, and people are going to vary. Some people maybe will be in a position that won't need it, but I imagine that will be the minority, and the majority, and there'll be a certain section of guys who could really do with some sort of, like I say, cancelling. It's like with any issue you have in your life, if you plenty of people go to counselling for all different issues, so there would definitely be a market for it, shall we say?
Yeah,
and
but
with
let me also say something about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with an ever-increasing amount of men turning TFL, the percentage who desperately need some sort of cancelling, TFL cancelling, is going to increase.
Right. I was going to say, what when in doubt seems to be thinking is that we haven't already. See, the assumption that he's making, and I don't want to assume that he's assuming this, but it sounds like he's saying that he doesn't think that men value themselves without a woman. I think a lot of TFLers do value themselves, but they're still lonely. Because you value yourself as a human being and know your place, doesn't mean that you don't have a desire. So I think that there's a lot of misconception that, oh, guys that want a woman are just, they're just pussy beggars or whatever. I don't think that that's necessarily true.
No, and I would also say that, well, whether you like it or whether he likes it or whoever likes it, the fact is that desire for women is one of the fundamental important things for a male. I mean, without reproduction, none of us would be here, right? So it's a fact of life that it's a very important component. And I think when people try to brush it under and they give this strongman narrative, it's like saying you don't need oxygen, man. Just, you know, it's fine. You don't need it. You don't need food. You'll be fine.
Like, it's just, you know, and it's like military. There have been cases where the military is like guys have died of hypothermia. I think many years ago, I remember there was Army Airborne Rangers that 4 of them died of hypothermia, and it's probably the same shit. You know, you're not a man. Just because you push people in a compromising position doesn't change the net result of what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem like calling a guy a pussy because he desires women somehow changes that. They act as like it's something you can control. Well, yes, I mean, obviously there are priestly men who go into the priesthood and are fine with that, but they have a different goal in life. Their whole goal is to devote themselves to the Catholic Church, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's very inaccurate to describe someone as a pussy beggar, because to me, I think if you were going to apply a sort of label like that, it would be more appropriate to someone who has an abundance of pussy and just can't get enough. You know, just like I suppose a PUA who just dedicates his life to constantly. But a lot of TFLers in that, it's just because you're not getting anything. And it's only natural that if you're, say for example, if you constantly eat food and you have a meal, you're not going to enjoy it as much. But if you've not eaten for a week, that meal is going to be suddenly a lot more important to you. And it's only natural. It's not because you have an unhealthy obsession with women or so, but it's just because you're not getting anything. You're being starved of a basic need.
Right. Hey, yeah, Steve. I've gone full. Go ahead, Dusty.
I was just reading through the comments, and Hell by the Dashboard Light is calling me a hayseed. So,
I don't know what else to say. A hasty, what's that mean?
like, it's basically like a derogatory term. He's basically making fun of my accent.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't.
And this is a guy who thinks that Indians Pajeets are getting all the women. So
Well,
he's
he's observing a small minority, but I don't know what's happening with Hell by the Dashboard Light. He's just going off the deep end. I think the guy has maybe smoked too many blunts. I don't know.
I will say in the UK, actually, Indian men are quite well respected and actually do all right in the date market. Same with the Southeast Asian men we have here. They actually
Are white Englishmen, like white Englishmen, seen as, unless you're like wealthy or you're a high prestigious person, are they kind of seen as third-rate men now?
I would say you're definitely bottom of the date market.
Oh, really? So all these English women are just marrying. So are there a lot of interracial babies being born in England?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's going up.
It seems like it's an epidemic. You see more Anglo or white English women just having all these mulatto babies.
Yeah, I mean, again, and some of it is the social condition. I know that there was a lot of controversy, or at least on YouTube, from some English content producers about last Christmas, like all the adverts were just all interracial couples, but it was always a white woman.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think you guys are pushing that thing even more.
Yeah, because we have all our hate speech laws, we have everything. I mean, you've got a bit more freedom left in America than we have, but we're going full on with the agenda. It's really
and I think that the Brexit movement, I don't think it even matters whether the Great Britain goes into the Union or European Union or not. It's already it's spent country. Although I think that what'll happen is it seems like this destruction of Western society is a slow process. It's not going to end overnight. It's going to be a slow process. This will probably go on for another couple hundred years. It is definitely sinking really bad though.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it turning back. It's going to run its course, and
because once you mix all these different races of people together, there's no undoing the miscegenation. That's a big thing, because once you do that, how do you undo a 4 generation of miscegenation? You know.
Well, you don't. We'll just basically become somewhere, I imagine, like Brazil, that has a very diverse population.
Yeah, but what you'll have is an elite class of whites, you'll have probably the 10% ruling class, and it almost seems like that's what they want to do to the West. They want to turn it into like a Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, if you're going down that thinking a bit more
I think that's proper. I mean, I'm not trying to sound racist, but I didn't want to make this a racist channel. But Pat Buchanan, who's a very conservative American, he's talked about this for the last couple decades, and he's a well-respected guy in the media, Pat Buchanan, and he talked about the West being destroyed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is a way, I suppose, to further separate the haves and the have-nots by, basically making all the communities divided, and as you know, race mixed into oblivion, while meanwhile you keep a certain small percentage of the population uncorrupt at the top, shall we say.
Yeah, but I will say that there's a lot of black guys living TFL, so I can't say totally like black guys are all doing good. There's a lot of black TFLers in the so they're not all doing well.
Well, I wanted to comment about how black guys do here in the UK, and I think maybe some black guys shop here, but to be honest, when I used to see it, black guys did well here. So that's maybe something that is a little different compared to the US, perhaps. And I'll tell you who did very well: mixed race black and white guys. They did very well in the clubs. Now these weren't like overly masculine guys. These were sort of a bit more like, they were a bit effeminate actually. But they did very well. Maybe that's a slight difference.
And Ireland's becoming Ireland's pretty much on its way out too. It seems they've opened up the borders. What do they have? They have a non-Irish president or something. It's crazy. It's
something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. So anyways, this TFL transcends multiple layers. I don't think it's just racial. I think it's just transcending the fact that it's a different world nowadays. I think that having TFL coaching might help guys be aware of it so that they won't blame themselves, because I believe that TFLers are more MGTOW than anybody. I think MGTOWs are full of shit. They say, we're going our own way. I think TFLers have a better chance to be MGTOW than anybody.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're more honest.
Yeah, we're more honest about it. Yeah.
That's the one. The ego and the honesty is two of the big differences.
Yeah, I don't know why humans have this thing called an ego, but it's not a good thing.
Well, it's part of male nature, and it's like I said, it's very funny because when I saw that TFM video that went into detail on the male nature, and I thought it's almost like self-projection. You could apply that to a lot of MGTOWs.
Yeah.
And you see that in a lot of the content producers. I used to like thinking Abe, but come to realize that guy had a massive ego.
He still does, but what he used to do is he put up facial videos a long time ago, and then he took them all down, and I actually reposted one of his up one time, and he almost like had a heart attack. This was back in 2013, and it was one where he was lamenting about the dating scene. Apparently, a lot of these MGTOW guys like Stardust deny being incel, and I know why they do it. It's the ego, because they deep down, I think they realize it, because most of what he used to lament about in his videos, in his facial videos, was he would complain about the dating scene all the time, and then all of a sudden he kind of flipped the script, and then he went MGTOW. Then he just did all this weird. I don't know what the guy's shtick is now. It's bizarre.
Well, he's gone. I mean, I don't watch his channel
These
now.
These guys have all gone off the deep end. I've watched. Yeah. I've been around MGTOW for 8 years now. I've been in TFL for 11. I know the full swing of what's going on. The whole manosphere is in disarray. Paul Elam destroyed it. The guy's a shill. He brought women into the movement. He turned a voice for men into really a voice for women. These guys are just. There's no real central message other than just bitching and anecdotally complaining about shit.
Well, a lot of it is just the charlatans. I mean, some of them are obviously in it for, I would say, quite frankly, for financial gain. They're hoping they can build a channel, because if you look at someone like TFM, I remember when I used to watch his videos a lot, he said, there's no point having a MGTOW channel. You're not going to make money off it. But I think now at his stage, he actually does make, regular revenue off it. And you look at people like Sandman that actually... And you had MGTOW 101 for a while. He was quite big, and he was making I remember him saying he was making money out of it. So I think some of them do it just because they hope that they can build a channel that way, and they will say what people want to hear, what they think is popular in that community to get an audience. But whether they actually mean it, I don't think they do. They could have various reasons for why they're not genuine. But I think that's one of them, that they're just looking to start a channel up to get some YouTube fame,
Yeah, I mean, there's times, I got to be honest with you, and I'm not going to say this, that I could jet out of this TFL thing anytime. I would like to make it a part-time gig for myself, because I think I could give a good insight. But there are times where you start to realize, is this worth it? Because this is stressful, talking about this. I mean, would you not agree that talking about TFLs, I mean, just what happened tonight was very stressful?
Well, I think talking to someone who's actually rational and isn't like, well, shall we say, a bit unhinged, it would be okay conversation. But I guess talking to certain MGTOWs, you are bringing up their kryptonite. You are bringing up the one thing, that their dark secret they don't want to talk about. So that's why, and I kind of expected a little bit, they get hostile. You only have to see comment sections where if someone questions if they're MGTOW because they can't get women, that's 9 times out of 10 it's a hostile response to it. So that is something that is gonna, because you are hitting a nerve, and because they're not genuine, and they know it, and that's why, like the guy did tonight, he couldn't argue my points. He started to just talk over me. He said he wasn't going to do ad hominems. He did, and it just did. He just wanted to turn it into a shit show rather than keep it on topic and to argue the actual facts and to defend. If someone was to then point out, oh look, I don't think this is right, he would then find a way to talk around the point.
He didn't want to really have a rant. He just wanted to bicker back and forth. He was kind of It's kind of like if somebody accuses you of being an anti-Semite or a racist, they don't rationalize. They just keep doing it because they want to beat you up. And it seemed like that's exactly what he was trying to do. He was just trying to pigeonhole you and keep going at it with you. And see, that to me, and I know Bill Greathouse is going to hear the re-upload of this, and I'm interested to see what his comment's going to be, because Bill doesn't fall through most shit. I think this guy... I think I've seen the last of him. I don't think that I tried to. He calls everybody brothers, and he says, "Oh, we're incorporating TFLers in this too." But I listen. I've been through this bullshit long enough. I'm 48 years old. If I haven't figured it out long enough at this age, I guess I'll never figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, in summary, he didn't like it when someone called him out on his bullshit, and just was going to say to his face, "Look, I know you're talking bullshit," and he didn't like it.
Well, I mean, he's got to start this Project Mayhem. He has it. What is it structured based on? How do you have do you have like a manifesto written? Do you have? It doesn't. It's just like he's just spewing this nonsense. Oh, we're gonna have this thing. It's something stolen out of a movie called Fight Club. And from what I remember, the first thing they said is you never talk about Project Mayhem. So he's already given it away.
I'll tell you now, he's not serious about it for a second. It's bullshit. Just trying to get some attention on the internet. That's all it is.
And I'm not going to go as far to say he's a government psyop. I think he's just...
I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying he's just making up... He's just coming up with... Like I said, he's coming up with something a bit more extravagant to make himself different to other fellow MGTOWs. To just not be another MGTOW clone. Which to me looks like he's just trying to get a bit of a reputation, build up a channel, and if he does, great for him. But I don't think he's genuine at all. Because, when you break it down, the idea, it's nonsense.
Right. Oh, I mean, I don't know. There's not... I think that a lot of people that just come to discover MGTOW, they act like it's like a kid in a candy store, but they don't realize that we've been down this road before.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was. I thought it was a bit funny that he'd only been MGTOW 4 months when, I was, I suppose you could say, consider myself MGTOW for 2 years. So it's, I don't know, but it's whatever he wants to do. I mean, you're not changing those people's minds, that's for sure.
Well, what gets me, though, is the people... when my criticism is not that some people leave and come back. These guys literally just leave, and they never come back. It's almost like there's some sort of psychological thing that's going on in their brain at that moment, and somehow they stumble onto MGTOW, and they start making all this content. There's another guy, MGTOW Hermit, and there's a couple of them like this. These guys will all be gone in a year. They're not going to be around.
Yeah, and I think it probably is the case. I know, obviously, in the day and age we live in, you have to keep a lot of your viewpoints private now. You can't be out in the open. But I imagine a lot of them, they'll live their life. It's like they're living a double life. And obviously they live online, but they won't ever act like a MGTOW in the real world.
No, because they're afraid they won't ever wear a MGTOW t-shirt. I have yet to see a person wearing a MGTOW t-shirt. Where are they? Where are these MGTOWs? They're terrified.
So you guys don't think Doubt was being sincere at all? I thought he was.
Personally, I don't. I do not believe him for a second.
Well, give him time. A year,
And to be honest, it's better. And that's actually the better realization, because if he's actually serious about it, I think that's more worrying. I'd worry about his mental sanity if that was the case.
Well, from what he was saying, he just seemed like he was advocating guys to just be guys again.
He's shaming, though. He's saying that if you like women and you can't resist it, you're weak and all that. That's the impression I was getting. But I'm saying that it's hard to fight your biology. We are what we are.
Yeah.
Any more than you can make a gay man straight, any more than you can make a straight man gay. Okay? I mean, it's just... I don't know.
Which is why, in short, again, we go back to it's just a strongman narrative. Just in order for them to elevate themselves above other men. They can look down upon incels, TFLS, and say, well, look, you still looking after that female validation. I don't need it anymore. I've transcended. I'm MGTOW, bruh.
Yeah, I've transcended. Yeah, I love that. I've transcended. And he even said he's got 2 or 3 women that he can call and have them over, but he just
Well,
doesn't
I
want
mean,
them.
there's no way to prove that. Same as you can't prove, say, like a guy who said in PUA books, like, we can't prove how many women have Roosh been, how many women has Roosh been with, or any PR pickup artist. You never know.
I'm gonna
You
push
never
it.
know.
I'm gonna say his number count is probably with prostitutes. I don't know any woman could find that guy desirable, that cretin that he is.
Well, this. Think of this, right? So you're writing a book on how men get women, okay? And you're trying to make a name for yourself, especially when you're becoming like a pickup artist.
Yeah.
And you think you can make money out of it. If you are invested into this, and you have a clear motivation to gain money out of it, do you not have some sort of bias that might then make you twist the truth over how many women you've been with? Because of course, no one can prove whether you have or haven't. So obviously, there's clear motive for you to, even if you did get the occasional woman, to make out that it's a game changer. It really works because, well, look what Roosh has done for himself. I know he's got controversy and he's got.
Yeah, but I don't think
he's
he's making. I don't think he's making 100,000 a year. I don't even think he's making 50,000 a year doing that.
No, but probably better. You know, a lot of PUAs are making at least a decent amount. Out of it.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you consider him a PUA or he's just kind
of. He used
to
be anyway. I know he's drifted off into this God pill or something now. I don't know, but it's he used to be anyway, didn't he?
What, he's claiming he knows Jesus now?
Well, no, he's saying basically you go from blue pill. I'm trying to remember, red pill. Then I'm not sure if there's a pill in between, but it would go to black pill. Then the last stage now is God pill.
Mm-hmm.
You find God.
These are all arbitrary concepts. They're not. There's nothing definitive. They're just arbitrarily. You just make them up as you go.
It's mental masturbation.
Right. Exactly.
And it's because none of these guys are getting laid, so they need to have plenty of masturbation.
Although but MGTOW would be a good thing. What would get rid of the desire for sex is if men came together and we had social groups. We could be sitting there working on an air conditioner together. We could be out working on a car. We could be doing all these cool things if we really put our resources together. If we could get these men out of their funk, but it seems like social isolation, especially for TFLers, is pretty much the norm.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's other societal issues with that.
I don't wish loneliness on anybody. I really hope that we solve this problem in our lifetime, but I don't think it will be solved.
No, like I said, I just think it'll get worse, personally.
Yeah, before
something happens.
And like I said, you've got the racialists that think it's a racial thing, only to find out that there's a lot of people of different races that are living. And I mean, it's hard to put a finger on what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, to quote him, "Held by the Dashboard Light," I do think Southeast Asian couples are a bit better insulated against this. And maybe
I can't understand why these people like Held by the Dashboard Light, how they go off the deep end, though. How do you go from having a rational discussion to just going batshit crazy off the deep end? And the guy's basically losing his mind. That's my opinion.
Well, maybe he's just, he's got the burden like we all have of being TFL, and maybe because of his high intellect, perhaps it affects him differently. But I don't want to speak bad of the guy because I do agree with a lot of his points, and we all have our own unique version on events. But
if it ever gets to the point where I'm mumbling stupid shit like he is in a chat, I think I'm ready to throw in the towel. I mean it. I mean, I'm not going to be in a chat. If I lose my mental sanity, and this is the truth, I'll promise to anybody, if I ever start to babble stupid shit, like I'm like losing, my brain is rotting away, I want people to tell me to get the hell out. I mean, I don't want to be back on this YouTube or do this. I want to have a clear, succinct mind when I'm talking.
Well, I don't know. Maybe sometimes he's a bit, on the green stuff, shall we say. But
who knows? I don't know what he does. It's not my business,
I don't know. But you should have another talk with him sometime because you're talking.
I'd like to. I'd like to.
They're always very productive, and everyone seems
They were. We had our best chats are on his site. It's the only ones he's got left up there, and I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, they were. They were very.
I think that he started to go off the deep end with talking that like somehow mentally retarded kids are making his life miserable, and so what? So a few people are proud of their mentally retarded kids. It doesn't sit there and justify being angry at them because you're living TFL.
Yeah, I guess. I think he was more getting at the fact that sort of saying, I know it's a bit cynical, but like saying the amount of money that's thrown into looking after disabled people.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I think he was getting at.
I am so tired right now. I got to get the heck out of here.
I need to shoot off. Well, it was nice talking to you, Steve, because I've watched a lot of your streams.
Yeah, we'll do this again. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to.
Hopefully, it won't be a shit show. And I do apologize to everyone because in some ways, that's why. He was very annoying, shall we say? But it got to that point where this isn't what people want to listen to, or maybe they did, but it was just it was like playground stuff in the end. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Are you there, Dusty?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. Dusty, Jim, I'm going to boot you out of here, but I will talk to you. I'll stay on for a couple of minutes. Dusty, you there, Dusty?
Yeah.
So sorry I didn't let you talk more out, but anyways, yeah, I think this was a pretty good chat, other than the arguing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. So listen, I'm jetting out of here. It is April the 10th, 2019, 3:52 a.m. A lot of arguing in here, but I think we had another good product. I probably won't do one for a couple days or a week, but maybe I'll do one on the weekend. You guys have a great day.